So bounties don't usually work like that. It's more like what I've seen personally, it's been more for serious stuff. Like let's
Uh,
just say there is someone causing serious issues within other groups.
hmm.
Like for example,
Oh, don't crash. Oh, awesome.
We're in a simple world and his shit's gonna crash.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and our guest is one hell of a person today. Is
MerpMachine, nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure. Oh.
Hey, Lion, before we get this started, I just gotta have to say this. Where are you at, young man? Would you explain it to our viewers what you are doing and where you are doing?
Well, I'm in a mobile working station near a beach now, it seems.
Oh.
Oh, I guess we're at the marina now, so that works. So I don't have to worry about anyone walking by or anything.
Oh, okay. So, first of all,
So pretty much.
why are you playing in a mobile workstation of all places? Oh, well, let's just jump right into it then. What are you most
Now, at
known
least he's
for?
getting better gas mileage.
What are you most known for, and how'd you get started?
For me personally, I mainly do like avatar creation within VRChat, so I do different commissions and such. One of the things I have been starting on behalf of another company is doing a form of Nexus to see about linking the idea of real world hubs as well as virtual hubs,
Oh,
especially like on yachts and such.
oh, okay. So I remember when I reached out to you, I reached out through a Discord called Orbital Provision Agency. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, the Orbital Provisional Agency. So right now we're only revamping everything since only now was I told by people that there was a bit of issues with communication and such.
Hmm.
So we're shutting everything down, making sure it's more easier to understand what we actually do.
Okay.
So,
Alrighty. Well, let's just start. How did you get into VRChat, and what led you to where you are now?
well, what got me into VR and VR chat was simply me looking for a new monitor. I'll be completely honest. I only looked into getting a headset because I found that having a physical monitor for me was just too much, especially when it comes to cost. Because I do admit I'm a bit of a crazy person when it comes to hoarding screens. So I needed something to pretend like I'm in the Matrix and just have 100 screens for everything.
Okay.
Holy shit.
So,
Oh
from
my
getting into
God.
VR for wanting another layer of monitors, what got you into VRChat from getting the headset?
Just the community and like the different worlds I was seeing from other people. Like
Okay.
originally, before I got VR, I wasn't too interested. I did try it out back in 2018, didn't get too much into it till I got VR,
Hmm.
and I really saw how immersive it actually was. Got to really know the community.
Okay. So, once you got into VRChat, what led you to doing avatar commissions in the Orbital Provision Agency and the VR and the IRL hubs that you were mentioning?
I mean, honestly, for that kind of thing, the reason I just got into that was because I thought it was fun. I wanted a little way to express myself because I thought it would be fun to learn.
Hmm.
The reason I started the OPA is because I wanted to have a bit of a neutral ground with the role plays I was already in, especially since there's a lot of conflicts. Thanks to opening the OPA, I have helped to resolve quite a few conflicts,
Hmm.
especially since I've been the third party for others I can't mention to allow them to have a neutral space where both of them don't control the tides, essentially.
Hmm.
You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah. So
So
you
that's definitely helped out.
okay? Have you been in the roleplay scene for very long?
Yes, actually, since 2016,
Oh
but
wow.
for role plays and that kind of thing, it's been like I started within VR chat in like 2022, I think it was.
Okay. So when did you start doing the VR role plays, and how did you find yourself in there?
I just kind of gradually started. I just joined different worlds. There's different events going on, so I kind of just naturally got roped in. I thought it was fun, so I just went along with it.
Okay. What was the first role play you did here in VR chat? That, yeah.
First roleplay I did was actually medieval.
Oh,
So it was very basic, but I mean, considering at the time there was a lot of avatars for it. Don't have many more, sadly, but is what it is.
hmm. So what is medieval, and what was the story for it? What were you role playing as in there?
I don't remember the story because it was like years ago, but uh, I do remember that most of us were pretty much knights trying to invade a kingdom.
Okay. So what for the OPA? That is a role play, correct? And what is the story behind OPA?
The OPA is mix of a role play group and a chill out group. So the reason it was started is on like we so okay, so the reason I started this one is also because of both the community within VRChat as well as the Valkyrie staffing. Because for one, I thought it would be fun to have a little neutral ground, especially since I'm looking into opening a bar originally.
Hmm.
Like that, as well as a little shipping company just to assist with different role plays, since a lot of times there wasn't much realism.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that, plus like having it as a nexus for people to join within different worlds. Like it does help people to kind of find others just more willing to do different tasks. Like
Hmm.
so far, we've actually put like in the past week, we've put 5 members in 2 groups so far. We haven't been advertising much, so because I'm still working on the roles and such to fix all those issues.
Okay. So the OPA is going to be a middle ground. Is it going to be role play heavy, or is it kind of just like a group that people can join for the in between?
So it's going to be like a group that people can join, like you said, for the in-between, but we're also going to do more dedicated role plays on the side, especially since we're going to have people going on different adventures to different worlds, looking for different artifacts, lost shipments, and more.
Okay.
But one of the main things that we aim to do is allow people to just meet up, like for multiple groups to meet up, and then join for different missions. So that way it gets people more introduced with each other, more, it
Okay.
gives people a friendly environment to learn who each other is, and.
Okay. So what initiated this whole thing, and what is the main mission or story for the OPA when people are to join and play or be a part of it?
I mean, I guess that's a hard say really, because
Hmm.
originally it was meant to be like a little coalition. It's changed a lot since then. So right now it's more focused as a nexus for people to join,
Hmm.
like a little bar and such, and then we send people out on different adventures to find stuff that we can use with our mixologists.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool. So what was the inspiration for this initially? What led you to this idea to start the OPA?
Honestly, just the idea of having a middle ground for everyone,
Hmm.
since I didn't see too much of that in the role plays that I was in, especially since most of it was more so war focused
Hmm.
and people were getting too stressed. So, like that, plus the amount of people that were trying to do this whole killed in action thing where they couldn't join any role plays after. So, I also made it as a way for people to rejoin the civilians. They don't have to be stuck outside of role plays and they can still attend and such.
Okay. That's a so I We have to explain a little bit of some of those terminologies to me because I've never been in a VR chat roleplay. So, what is this concept of killed in action, and why would that prevent people from rejoining?
Well, with killed in action, it's basically like a majority. majority of roleplay groups recently have been taking up this whole thing where if you have a recording of someone that you have shot, for example, they're a group leader and whatnot, then technically that would be considered killed in action. That would be used as evidence against them since people have been getting pretty aggressive lately.
Mm.
So with that, it's also caused a lot of issues between people, which is one reason I wanted to create the OPA.
Mm.
Since, you know,
Okay. So does that kind of discrepancies and issues happen between players a lot in the roleplay community?
I it really depends on the role play. The majority of times we go with the like milsim focused ones, mainly because people are just looking for something to do anyways.
Hmm.
But you know,
Okay.
like most of the people that we have so far and have interacted with have been bounty hunters, private militia groups, just general contractors, mechanics, engineers, researchers, you know.
Okay. So,
So we've been catering more toward
mm,
the needs.
okay.
Sorry.
No, no, no. You've done nothing wrong. I'm just getting ahead of myself. I'm a little bit excited to ask some questions. What is the difference between a typical role play and a military sim?
So the difference is mainly like just training and how harsh it is. Like for example, a typical role play will be more just generalized. You're not going to have too much to necessarily. You can go around and relax. You can go up to different people and interact as if you're in an open world game, for example.
Mm.
Versus the milsim, what they would do is they'll host different trainings, they'll host different like what's it called? Basically they'll host different trainings, events for like search and rescue, even going out of the way to go like set up wars with other groups, you know?
Oh, wow.
Like there's like some of the groups that I used to roleplay even like back in like 2019, 2020, they had whole roles and everything. I'm sorry, I mean rules for like how people were to interact with each other because oftentimes because it was more so a sandbox game, they would actually continue the wars outside of instances. So they would
Mm.
have to figure out a way to regulate, and then they even had a confirmation code for people today to confirm that they were actual members or not.
Mm. Okay. So, so these mil sims kind of continue outside the role play itself. It seems is that common practice amongst players?
Not too common, thankfully,
Hmm.
because I have found that when that does happen, it does cause a lot of issues, especially with relationships and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And a lot of times when it happens outside of the in-role plays, I have noticed that it has caused some hackers and modders to be involved. So,
Hmm. Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay. So, what is the typical intro to these kinds of things, like the role play, military sims, for like a new user if they're coming in? What does the intro process look like for most people?
For which particularly, do you mean like a milsim or because I'm more
Sure.
familiar with the milsim type?
Oh yeah, then milsim seems
Okay.
great. What is the typical intro process to a milsim?
So the typical process for a milsim is usually just like people hosting different instances, for example, within VRChat or other games. And they host different like little stands, for example, or go up to people asking them if they want to join. If they do, then what they'll do is they'll invite them to the base and they'll do a whole interview. Like for example, that's one of the reasons I do a form for my group, just to keep it organized so we can assign them proper roles based off of what they actually want to do, as well as know what they'd like to be trained for.
Hmm. Okay.
So, like a lot of times, what people will do is just do simple little tests. They'll bring it to the base, give them a little gun safety course, and that kind of thing.
Oh wow.
And
So
then
the
they get to start working up ranks.
oh wow. So
All right, good.
no, no, it's okay. I apologize. I tend to get ahead of myself, so I deeply apologize. So it sounds like they're like
Okay.
with their ranking systems and with all of that. Is it that in depth with how a milsim will be treated, like with rule systems, ranks? people with different roles, and how long does a typical event last?
Yeah, it tends to be that intense, honestly. Like with events, it really varies because if it's a war, sometimes the war will last up to 8 hours if it's one instance and they're just preparing. But if it's a whole, like if it's an actual war between groups, then that can last up to months.
Really?
Like for example, like one of the reasons, like one of the games I used to play was Simple Sandbox. In that game, there was whole wars simply because of one person wanting to rule the entire game that the devs couldn't control.
Mm.
So that war itself lasted over 2 years,
Oh
which is
wow.
why there are so many groups just teaming up together to work against them. You know?
Oh wow. So another
Yeah.
another big question I have is, how does one moderate or run a war between that many people? It seems like in a role play instance, it seems like for a few people to like moderate the instance sounds a bit difficult, because I've played some D&D games with a lot of people, and it can get a little wacky sometimes.
In terms of how we moderate, some of the things we do, for example, like, so we'll have the main admins basically telling each group what to do. We'll line everyone up, and then have both groups tell each one respectively what's going on and then what the rules are.
Hmm.
Then once that's done, we're going to have another assistant, like a moderator, for example. Usually, like we'll go to PvP worlds within VRChat, for example, because those ones have a little box up top for you to easily see everything. But
Hmm.
if not, then we'll just move up higher. Just then from there, if someone basically breaks the rules, some groups do actual physical training to kind of enforce that. They either, they'll either do that or they'll do temporary like sort of ban almost from the instances so that way they can't
Hmm.
join for a limited amount of time, usually up to 3 days.
Hmm.
Then if it's severe enough, then what tends to happen if they disobey is they'll actually host actual courts and such in order to figure out what to do next, to really, because then it gives them a chance to say what they've done wrong and why,
Oh
because
wow.
sometimes it's caused by another player without us seeing, you
Oh
know?
wow. So do you guys keep logs of all these actions? Like, let's say the role play goes well and no one's being shady. If a player was to die, do you guys keep logs of who died when and stuff like that, or is it more just wait and see how the whole thing plays out?
50-50 depending on the event. Like for example, if it's like let's just say it's a little smaller event, for example, where we're doing a mission like a search and rescue, or we're trying to do base recovery, then at that point we'll have at least one person on each team recording, so they would see like we'd be able to see from their view as well as reports from other members who died and whatnot. And then from there, if they did die, then they'd be out of the roleplay temporarily. But if
Hmm.
they got hurt or that kind of thing, then they would actually have to take time in a sick bay, for example, to get healed up,
Hmm.
which can take 1 to 3 days as well.
Oh wow. So that's actually quite interesting that even if you get injured, you put them in like a LOA for a bit as well. Now, when you do these missions or like search and rescue, is there ever like a story to it, or is it like very rough and loose?
There tends to be a story. Like some of the ones we do, it's more based off of what other groups have done to us because we try to communicate with other groups
Hmm.
to figure out what they're doing to us and that kind of thing. And sometimes we'll even set up different events to have that stuff happen, you
Okay.
know?
Okay.
Like one thing that we did previously within role plays like years ago in other games is we actually set up different events with other groups, like tends to be like two or three other groups, for example. Let's just say we're setting up a base, we're gonna do like we're doing construction, that kind of thing. We'd have some people go in as if they're spying and such, and then watch us and try to take pictures. And
Oh
then from
wow.
there, those pictures can also be used for the other group to like figure out how their plan of attack. So we'd set up more like an actual full scale role play instead of just,
Oh
so it'd be
wow.
separated into like smaller little bits, you know.
Okay. That actually sounds pretty
And
sick.
if that,
I'm gonna say
yeah,
it
and if
sounds
that
sick.
isn't available, yeah, like if those aren't available to do, what we'll typically do is we'll set up just very basic role plays where we give certain people assignments. Like for example, within VRChat, it's a lot easier. So sometimes we'll say, okay, we need to do a little bit of base recovery. Sometimes there's going to be an anomaly, so there could be just some basic issues with the like doors malfunctioning, that kind of thing, making it seem like there's someone that's been attacked inside there. Or we'll have monsters kind of roam around the place in order to try to kill us. So we'll give them different rules and such, as well as a soundboard in order to make it more realistic.
Hmm. Oh wow.
You know,
Wow. So how many
and
groups
then we'll
are a part of these things? Because if this is usually one or two, you plan ahead, or is it just all groups involved or all involved?
So usually it tends to be one or two groups. If it's a more generalist role play where we do interact with other groups as a whole, we'll do it in public instances, for example, so other people can have a chance to meet us, and also gives us a chance to really have an open world experience without any kind of like control.
Hmm.
So sometimes, like for example, like, let's just say one group, like what we have done previously, one group happened to have control of the radio tower over in, I think it was City 17, if I remember correctly. So we got reports that it was damaged. So even though we weren't told, in order to kind of pay them for something that they did for us,
Hmm.
we for free went over there and repaired the radio tower, securing it for them once more after it was damaged and used by another group.
Oh wow.
You know? So
Wow. That sounds pretty sick. With if there are two independent or three independent groups all involved in these wars, how does everyone uh moderate and mark down and organize everything that's going on? If is it like one thing at a time, or is it like everyone sends reports of what everyone's doing to each other, and how do you work through all of that?
so with wars and that kind of thing, typically we'll do it within different instances. It'll kind of be based off of essentially.
Hmm.
So usually there's going to be the admins in a higher, like quite literally a higher place in order to properly moderate. One of the things that I have found, at least as an issue within VR chat, is because there's no PvP mechanics in most worlds, we're trying to see about incorporating a system where even if it doesn't look like they directly hit you, if it's like at least if it's within like 1 or 2 feet away from you, then you count it as a hit. Otherwise, you know,
Hmm. Okay.
mainly because of lag and that kind of thing, since lag is more prevalent here than in other games due to how VRChat servers are. So,
Hmm.
you know.
Okay.
But otherwise, if we're doing a more professional setup for like wars and that kind of thing, we'll go into like we go into 3.0 or 2.0 PvP worlds in order to do that kind of combat. Since then the server kind of marks automatically, and then we can see who died simply from the spawn room. You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah. Wow. How many different games or worlds or Discord groups are the ones milsims you were a part of typically go with or work with?
Sorry, could you rephrase that a little bit?
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry. No, I
bit of lag
apologize.
there.
How many games, platforms, and groups does the milsims you are part of use?
So typically for role plays that I've been in recently, we stick to VR chat, but sometimes we'll go to Onward and Pavlov to do more dedicated training, since that has more proper mechanics, for example.
Hmm.
So sometimes we'll even, like, if everyone in one group has the same game, for example, then we'll go to that game in order to have a more proper battle if that's possible. But usually it's not, so we'll just go to 2.0 and 3.0 worlds.
Okay. So,
Personally, my
hmm.
group prefers 3.0 world.
Oh,
Sorry,
no, you
losing
continue.
my thing.
I apologize.
Personally, no, you're fine. I was saying, my group prefers 3.0 worlds because that's more dedicated towards latency issue. So
Hmm.
there's very little view on that. So if you hit them, then it's considered you know, since the server marks automatically, and that actually kills them,
Hmm.
you know.
Okay. Um, how many tools do you guys usually have in your tool belt for VRChat roleplays to do milsims as well, like 3.0 worlds or any specific assets you guys prefer using?
Honestly, we have plenty. Like for me personally, like a lot of it tends to be for avatars, for example, since especially when I'm on PC VR, you have a lot more room to set things up, especially for PvP.
Hmm.
So, like for example, one example of it is an avatar I have for Alex Silva, where it actually has a spear and a shield, and if you hit the spear on the shield, then it'll actually disable it for 3 seconds. It'll actually disable your weapon so you can't fight back.
Oh wow,
You know?
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, like
Question for him, line.
Oh,
I got a question for him. What's one of the hardest gaming setups of role playing that you had that you is stuck in the back of your mind?
could you describe what you mean a
oh,
little more?
would you like me to translate, Raptor? Um,
Go right ahead. Huh?
what's one of the hardest role plays that you've been a part of that you remember? Any certain scenarios, any certain battles, anything in particular?
Oh, unfortunately, that's easy. Because I actually got, like, the reason that I got into the roleplays in the first place, at least outside of VRChat, was because of a mobile game called Simple Sandbox.
Hmm.
Weird enough to say.
Oh.
So, the Simple Sandbox is, well, a mobile sandbox game that in recent years have been a lot more dedicated now to roleplays and such. But when it first started, like, one of the reasons that I got roped into the roleplays is because of a person named Golem or Super Golem creating a sort of kingdom in order to simply cause chaos just for the fun of it,
Hmm.
especially going into other worlds, destroying people's builds and such. So, for example, one of the roleplay groups that I was in was called the SSBUN, or what was recently changed to UN, which we combined with other groups in order to like search 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to ensure that the servers were safe and we could immediately eliminate them before they started to cause too much chaos.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
from there, because of that, we shifted half of it to being more roleplay focused. So we had actual training sessions and such for people to actually learn how to deal with the griefers and how to actually fight back against them. Because at the time, there wasn't any way to kick necessarily. So
Hmm.
there's that, and because of that, mod like actual mods, clients, and injections started to become in use by them. So the developers had to create their own APK for very specific people to use in order to quite literally fight back since they became invincible.
Hmm.
So
Interesting. I do have a question as well. What does a training look like, and what were the trainings for for a griefer would look like? Like if you were to bring someone and their experience the milsim and be pulled into a training session for a griefer or a typical scenario, what would that look like?
so typically it would be kind of very basic where we would host like 4 different weapons. Sorry, a little brain fog there. Sorry. Uh, what we would typically do is host different instances for people to join. That's if, or sorry, that is once they are verified, anyways. So once they are verified within our group, and we know that they're not one of the griefers in the what we basically considered the KGB of VRChat, or not VRChat, but Simple Sandbox. Uh, from there, we'd host full-on training sessions on how to use different vehicles, different ways to evade the missiles because people like missiles and RPGs because a lot of times they figured out ways to glitch those and actually spam them, causing a lot of chaos, as well as how to utilize props for movement. For example, what you'd see in Gmod.
Hmm.
So simply either lifting yourself up from the prop, for example, or utilizing a prop as a shield against different bolts and that kind of thing. Like we even taught them how to do a proper phalanx position just using doors.
Oh
It's
wow.
kind of funny actually, because in different scenarios, especially public instances, you used to see a lot of people just joining up in the phalanx position, using little doors or walls in order to prevent them from throwing explosives and such.
Oh
You
wow.
know.
Wow. So you guys with all of that, how much of those trainings are transferable between platforms? Like if you use Pavlov as a training session and then go into VRChat or for a VRChat battle, would any of those trainings transfer over?
A majority actually, because a lot of it was mainly about tactics and such. So when it comes to like let's just say some of them, for example, as of later years, like as of 2019, I think it was, they started to add this thing where you could use a grapple hook to move around. So, for example, we had to learn the basic patterns as well as more advanced patterns to be able to teach the members how to deal with that. And then later on, those same tactics were used against aircraft because then we could figure out the velocity of that target and then figure out where to shoot RPGs and such.
Hmm.
But in
Wow.
VRChat,
Oh.
it's pretty much the same thing.
Oh wow. So another kind of a weird question a bit is how much with the trainings and what you guys do is how much of it is based in like a real military and how much is platform or game specific?
So a lot of the trainings are more so based off of real life, but there would be at least once or twice a week that we would focus for game specific type of training so that way people can understand how the combat system worked, how to take out different people, especially people had a version of what we considered God mode, where it would give someone over 1,000 health, for example.
Mm,
So that would allow us to show them how to deal with it since they would utilize it more to rush in.
mm,
So we taught people how to set up different traps, even just using the props. That way they would think that they're going to be meeting someone inside a building.
mm.
But then instead, once they get in, the people that are preparing for that attack would actually use seats and such through the walls in order to get out and then spam the building with RPGs.
Oh
So it would
wow.
eliminate them immediately.
Oh wow. Actually, how many of those tactics do you guys use, like using seats guy the walls? Do you normally use in those scenarios, and what are some of your favorite tactics, either real or game specific?
I mean, honestly, for real life, I think my favorite is the phalanx position, especially because in most games it looks hilariously wonky, but then somehow works because some games don't have the collider set up properly.
Mm,
So it looks like you shot someone, but then it's still.
okay.
But within games, one of my favorite things to do is, like, for example, Temple Sandbox. My favorite thing to do in there as a glitch was basically we designed a little transportation system where instead of using vehicles, we would actually be able to spam explosives and launch ourselves from within a trash can, guiding us upwards and then into a tube so we could shoot ourselves like miles away within seconds.
Oh wow.
So we use that a lot of times before getting to different locations and different worlds.
Hmm. That sounds pretty wacky. I've seen some
Yeah,
stuff like
Yeah,
that in
no
other games. I
doubt.
wouldn't expect to be used in a milsim, to be honest.
No.
yeah, like we mainly use those, like mainly use glitches like those in order just for quick transportation for moderators and that kind of thing. Otherwise, if it's part of the role play, then we'd pretty much stick to vehicles.
Okay.
Since transportation at the time was pretty limited, so there wasn't,
Hmm. Okay.
especially with the hackers and such being prevalent, we did need a way to quickly traverse each area without interference, you know what I mean?
Okay. So another weird question for you as well. How often do in the milsims you've played in went into public VR chat instances, and what were some of the responses from the community or the people watching what was going on?
Honestly, most of the time, people would just sit on the sidelines and watch. There has been a few people here and there that did get really curious and just asked us directly.
Mm,
But a lot of times they're a bit iffy because they don't want to accidentally ruin the role play,
Okay. So you
So
get
sometimes what we do to let them be like part of the role play is we'd actually have them considered a civilian.
mm.
Then we'd have them go to a different spot on the map. So we'd actually go there and then meet them with their own little persona and such already ready for them.
Oh, that's
And they've assigned themselves.
pretty cool.
That way we can,
I think it's
yeah.
pretty cool how you guys do that with the populace. Does that happen often?
Not too often. A lot of times role plays are in more private instances, mainly due to griefers and such. But other than that,
Okay. That's good to know. Now, with your large instances you run, let's like a battle of sorts, are those more always in a private instance or are they semi-public?
So with scale role plays like that, we have them in private instances because then they're much easier to moderate for some obvious reasons. One of which is being that we actually assign different groups different moderators in a sense. So, for example, let's just say we have a research group in the city and we have like a military coming in from the west.
Mm.
We can have two separate moderators assigned to each group in order to make sure that everything's running fine, as it also acts as a quick way to communicate with each other if they want to plan a meetup,
Mm.
you know?
Okay. And in those large instances, how many of those people are like moderators or staff for the role play, and how much are players?
So about like 87% of the people within there are actual players,
Mm.
and the rest tend to be moderators and such, like moderators, group owners, and other.
Okay.
So, but if it's a fully dedicated event, then we'll have like each team, for example, like a maximum of 5 people in that one group, unless they're doing a very specific type of milsim that they're trying to do, if they're trying to achieve a more specific goal versus generalized. You know what
Mm.
I mean?
Mm.
Since what we found, especially even both inside and outside of the military, is that it's typically best to have only 5 people to command under one person. You can separate them each. But with something like VRChat, it does make it easier since you can simply just select someone and then give them a quick warning they know, you know?
Mm. Okay. So how many tools in VR chat would you use for a moderation instances? Like only like group instance tools, or would you guys pull something in specifically handmade for those events?
Well, right now it's kind of generalized, so what we typically do is we use VRChat's moderation system in order to simply give them a quick warning,
Mm.
because we do that immediately as they're doing it so they understand. If they have any questions, there's always going to be a moderator right there. That way they can question and,
Mm.
like what we typically do instead of the typical just 3 strikes you're out, we actually have it so it varies a bit, like so it varies on intensity. But let's just say you just made a little mistake and you accidentally cussed, for example, then it wouldn't come into effect, you'll just get a warning. Or let's just say you're causing complete chaos in an instance and you were, for example, like you took a giant nuke, for example, and you tried to nuke the entire world, or you're trying to use clients to teleport to everyone, then that would be pretty much a one-time warning,
Mm.
you know?
Okay.
This is a few examples.
Well, wow. Thank you for letting us know. Because I've explored some of the roleplay worlds, not just for Milsim, but like regular role plays, and I've seen lots of really cool uh, assets. Like one I saw in a couple of different ones is like the item crafting system that you'll see in some of those role plays and stuff like that. So I was kind of curious, how many of those would you use for moderation, and what kind of tools do you guys use? That's why I asked the question in general, because I think it's interesting seeing some of those things in world or on avatars.
Yeah, so in terms of like actual creation of different things within role plays, uh, typically it would go by word by mouth, and we'd have one person assigned to keep track of how many items was actually gained. So,
Mm.
for example, let's just say we're scavenging for parts, for example, which is what my group often does within different events. We'll actually have one person assigned to keep track. And then, for example, we'll have something like a mech in order to carry all that.
Mm.
And if it's going to be explosives and that kind of thing, we have an ordnance system in place to deal with those safely, especially if we want to use those.
Okay. So another question I have as well is, if for milsims or those kinds of things, is there like a dungeon, like a story master of sorts to like oversee what's going on if you're doing like either a big war or a small instance, like you're going to repair the tower, like you mentioned earlier, just someone's like running that, or is it like group v group, all like that?
It tends to be group to group.
Mm.
There isn't necessarily one person running the entire thing because it's like there's so many groups out there, they would just be too difficult.
Mm.
So what people do is, for example, they select a certain genre and then they go off of that. Like, for example, mine is more focused on space exploration.
Mm.
So, you know, that's one of the reasons that my group is a Nexus, because we wanted to be able to have a way for us to not only go to different planets and explore, but also we could get parts for different people, excavate different resources to make things in order to supply, and then from the hubs or stations like located within orbit, we could actually have different drop ships come down and then deliver them within role plays to their location or to their bases to enhance realism, and then add another way to kind of like control the weapons usage. Since, for example, like oftentimes they don't control normal weapons usage like for guns, but if it's a more dedicated, then if it's like a tank or something, they would have a limited amount of ammunition. For example, like when you consider a Tiger tank, that one would have about 17 rounds or 30 rounds depending on the situation. And then once they run out, they would typically be used simply as a mobile shield in a sense until someone comes in to deliver the supplies. Like my group, for example, during those kind of events, we actually deliver outside of the war zone, but we try to get as close as possible to make it easier for them to retrieve it.
Mm.
So we usually, for example, set up a neutral ground so if anyone comes in and tries to kill us there, they'd be immediately eliminated. This also includes their entire team. So whoever attacks the supply group or the medical team and whatnot would be completely eliminated from the instance.
Oh
They'd have
wow.
to redo the whole thing again.
Mm.
That way it kind of enforces the idea of you cannot attack us and you can't, you know?
Yeah. So what made you want to have your group be like a Nexus slash delivery group for other role plays? What made you want to choose that versus like mercenaries or something like that?
Well, honestly, the reason I wanted to do that is because I found that a lot of milsims as of late have been lacking with members, so I wanted to kind of assist with that,
Mm.
especially since I got a little bit of inspiration from the Valkyrie staffing that is actually sponsoring the OPA,
Oh wow.
since this is essentially almost like a staffing agency within VRChat, because everyone can go in, relax at the bar, have fun, get different supplies, and they can figure out what they want to do with other groups within that very instance.
Hmm.
Like, for example, like what we're planning to officially set up is actually a very quick 15-minute meeting, like every other day for like more dedicated events. So that way everyone has time to communicate, and then immediately after they know their roles, and they can head out, and then,
Okay. So.
especially like for
Mm.
security team and whatnot. Because for us personally, a meeting, at least just to do a quick explanation, can take up to 3 minutes. So we've estimated about 15 minutes for the meeting as a whole. So at least 3 to 7 minutes goes to just explanation, and then because people typically already know their roles from when they were first joined, or if they first joined the instance in the group, then the rest of that time, even if it's extended to 30 minutes, is used for each group in order to communicate with each other. Like, let's just say the security group is running low on supplies, they need ammunition, or they need a little bit of backup. then they can communicate with the logistics hub part of in order to
Mm.
sorry,
Don't be sorry.
have a bit of input lag here. I'm hearing myself a little bit. Not on your end, it's just a little bit echo because of this.
Mm.
Anyways, like one other thing, for example, as an example, we would actually. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No. I'll ask you another question as well, just kind of on topic of what you're talking about. Let's say I'm a part of a milsim group looking for players or supplies. How would I, as that group, interact with you? Like if we're brand new to requesting something like that from OPA.
Well, if you are looking for different members and such, what we do, like we actually host ads free for groups under, I believe, 350 members.
Mm.
So you can actually just contact us directly via either email, the phone number that's officially been assigned to the group,
Mm.
or, for example, through Discord. And then from there, once we approve your ad, then we can host it on like in the gallery, for example, within the group.
Mm.
We can host it in Discord, or when we're hosting bar instances, we can actually change it out every either 15 or 30 minutes, so that way each group gets a fair chance to be seen by each person.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay. Now, if one was to have an ad in through OPA, is that something you do for free, or is it something that would cost money to do? What is it? What would that agreement look like?
So typically it's going to be free. So in terms of payment, that's going to be under, like, you don't have to pay if it's under 350. The reason for that specifically is because once you're at a larger, once you're a larger group, we also kind of want to encourage people to focus more on like putting their budget towards their own group, allowing other people who want that space within the gallery to host their ads. That way,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
they can pay for hosting at that point if they would like, but it is a form of it's just a silent way to get people to move on so they can allow more room for other new people to see other groups as well, you know?
Okay. So within the roleplay community, is there a typical way for like monetization to happen, or for a group of any group, or is this something specific to you guys that you want to do for that reason?
Not necessarily for like when it comes to actual transactions and that kind of thing. That's more typically for like actual bounty hunters and that kind of thing, like bounty
Mm.
hunters and PMCs, because there are some groups that do take it really seriously
Mm.
and have entire guilds in order to take out different people within VRChat. So that'll be either like through information sharing or avatar creation or, you know, just very basic stuff.
Okay.
And if it And sometimes for them, for example, if they're assigned to take out a leader of a very large group, for example, they would actually have like actual bounties on them for sometimes even over 500 on the rare sides.
Oh, wow.
Like it is like it's crazy. Like even on the very very rare occasions, people can pay like thousands of dollars to take out someone within VR chat if they've caused such a great issue to like
Wow.
other communities and such.
So by takeout, you mean role play, or takeout as in like uh
Uh,
Crasher means?
Uh, Sometimes it's Crasher, most times it's roleplay.
Mm.
So typically the bounties are meant for like roleplays and Crashers mixed in
Mm.
a sense. Like, do you know that I don't have much experience with it anymore. I usually like when I used to take part of that, I actually just did that within roleplays. I never did any kind of crashing or anything.
Okay.
So,
I only asked about that because I was curious, because you kind of mentioned a little bit, and I was just like, take someone out of VR chat. 'Cause I didn't know if you're like, oh, is it kind of role play you're taking out of the role play, or is it like actually like you're vaping your graphics card kind of thing? So I was sorry to put you in that
I
spot. I was
get
just
you.
curious.
Oh no, you're fine. And I do apologize if I'm a bit some of my words and such. I am still a bit tired from last
Oh,
night,
no.
so
No need to apologize. That's why I
been
asked for
working a lot.
clarification and asked a question. You don't know what you don't ask, and so I asked. Um, so within those role plays and stuff like that with bounties, do those bounty groups usually work with a large host of groups if they take it that seriously? And what would like a role play bounty look like? Let's say, for example, I was to hire someone to go after me as in a role play standpoint for fun. What would that normally look like?
So bounties don't usually work like that. It's more like what I've seen personally, it's been more for serious stuff. Like let's just
Uh,
say there is someone causing serious issues within other groups.
mm,
Like for example, I can't say the name here, but basically there was one person that was causing huge issues with crashing and such that would lead groups of over 700 simply to just invade and kill everyone in different instances.
mm,
So what would happen is because of the chaos caused by that, as well as the like communication errors and such, some people would hire people in order to crash them in order to get them to stop and to kind of eliminate them temporarily from the game while different events were happening. So that way they could do it in peace without any
mm.
worry of interference.
That's interesting. That's quite interesting that that side of VRChat would be used like that. I didn't think people of that particular nature would join roleplay or help roleplay groups like that, or in a roleplay standpoint, because that's new to me. We've all in VRChat interacted with those kinds of people. I didn't expect that kind of words. I'm great with English. Interaction to happen in that kind of format.
I get you. Like honestly, that type of interaction is pretty rare, mainly
Mm.
because of how people are handling things now, thankfully.
Mm.
So I am definitely glad to see the community has grown, especially on the roleplay side, because people used to take things way too seriously, even going as far as like not only crashing, but also pretty much burning up people's devices and such in order to eliminate them.
Ah.
So
Well,
that was one huge issue at the time.
really? So, how much has changed since EAC was put into place with the roleplay milsim community?
Not too much because EAC didn't really do much against them,
Hmm.
but because of software updates just locally on standalone headsets, for example, as well as people understanding how VRChat works, like it's mainly just been basic crashing for VRChat and not anything serious now.
Okay.
On the rare occasion, like very, very rare occasion now, someone does, for example, DDoS or take out the network, but it usually gets recovered within a week and then they get traced down and,
Okay. So, I'm gonna lead into another series of questions based on something you mentioned in the beginning. Is you said you were working on a bringing real life and VR together with specific locations. Would you mind elaborating what that is? What you plan to do with that?
So at the moment, I can't say too much on that due
Hmm.
to NDAs, but what
Oh.
I can say is that one of the things we do plan to do is have a way for people to like use this as a way to test people for different actual jobs. So they could
Hmm.
use the role plays to not only train for different like jobs that they're going to have in real life, especially if they're doing security work,
Hmm.
but also it helps like people to interview them remotely, see how they actually act, as well as give them a quick way to tell, okay, like how do you actually act in different scenarios? How do you perform with stress? How do you perform in calm situations? How do you perform in different?
Okay. Do you think personally that working in VR is something that can be done uh, regularly? Is it a potential for VR as a technology?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do it.
Oh
Like
wow.
I right here, I'm doing it right now. So this is part of my work actually.
Oh.
So because outside of commissions, I actually do assist with the sorry, my brain is fogging up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
I
a-okay.
think.
I very much understand. Happens to me all the time as well.
Yeah, but basically, in terms of working remotely, especially within VR, it is definitely possible. I
Mhm.
mean, I myself, like for me personally, like yeah, I have my laptop right here. I have my what used to be my main computer is now in storage, which is a beefier device. Like now, I primarily use this headset because a lot of what I do is, for example, like data management and that kind of thing. Since I'm also a virtual assistant for the CEO of Valkyriestaffing.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So
So,
honestly, like
mm,
especially in terms of research and stuff, this is it's a lot easier to do it in VR, especially because you can have so many screens up and then you can quite literally see different specs about it from different sources, you know? And
okay.
then if you want to have like meetings and that kind of thing, you can do it from anywhere without the worry of having to find a place to meet up. And you can stick within your own home and then have your own private space for that, not having to worry about any information being leaked on what you're doing, especially if you're working on different commissions and such, you know?
Hmm. Okay. Now, I got a bunch of questions on the working in VR thing, so fair warning, this may be a topic we talk a little bit about.
Yeah,
Uh, do you find yourself easily distracted while working in VR? Do you find yourself able to focus on your work while in a VR headset?
honestly, I find it a lot easier for me to work within VR because in real life, I get pretty easily distracted. With this, it allows me to be in a more calm environment. I can put the headphones on and be able to hear something while I'm working. And then, for example, if I'm doing a meeting with someone else, we can go to different worlds and such, or we can go use other things such as the work, like meta workrooms, for example, in order to show each other different screens and such, and you know.
Hmm. Okay. So another question is, what is Valkyrie staffing? Because I've never heard of that before. Is that something you can talk about?
So I wouldn't be able to talk about it directly, but if she is willing, she is actually right here. I can see if she would be willing to talk to you about Valkyrie staffing.
If she's free, I'd be more than happy to talk with her. If there's a business in VR chat, I think that's dope. I didn't think like VR metaverse stuff had that kind of like functioning businesses here yet. I figured it's still kind of new in the system, so I was just kind of curious. If she's willing, it's up to her. If you don't want to, it's no big deal.
Oh, that's fine. I'll ask her now. Okay, she said yes.
Hey, let's
Didn't even have
go.
to say anything.
Holy wow. Yay! On the fly, folks, on the fly. We don't get that every day of the week.
I bet she wasn't expecting that today.
I know. Give me a second.
Hello, just real quick. I'll only take a few seconds of your time. In the description, that way you have a card, Metaversedegen to card.co. We have many links down there for you to come check out. We have an X link, which is with me. We have a Discord where we hang out and do stuff all the time, as well as a Patreon link, where if you wish to support us, you can. Where there's also a show and another podcast separate from Metaverse Degen, that which we have available to our wonderful members who signed up, such as Niche, Training Fangs, Aliquum, and Forbidden Zero. Thank you all. You're all amazing. Enjoy the rest of your video. I won't take up any of your time.
Okay, we better get.
A question for you: what is Valkyrie staffing, and what do you do within the world of VR and the metaverse, and what is the company?
So our staffing agency, we do look for placing people remotely. So we actually have done interviews in VR. So we hire people through like AI prompt engineers, VR game developers. We do have a couple candidates that are coming on board that are work formerly with the military. So
Hmm.
we essentially analyze people's resumes, see what they can do potentially remotely, and find clients on their behalf, either applying with existing clients or seeking additional clients. So, and it depends on the application, because there's some people that come to us and they say, I'd like to work remote, but I'm not quite sure what I can do. And we analyze their resume, update it for them based on their interview. Our interviews are done a little bit different. We don't do the standard intense interview like right in person. We actually send them a text-based interview that gives them more time to give articulate answers. and from that we update the resume and then do a follow-up call with them.
Oh wow.
So
So what made you want to
okay.
choose VR as a medium
Sense.
for your remote working?
honestly, it's so much better to be able to have the flexibility to work anywhere, in any type of environment. Plus, if I need to have more like Adobe Photoshop, I can do with like the Amazon AWS systems or hooking it up directly to a laptop if need be. So, but it allows the most flexibility.
Hmm.
Is what I like.
Okay.
So
No, as a
And
company,
one other thing, Lion, and one other thing else,
what's that?
they're more compact. They're more compact. Think
Yeah.
about it.
Indeed, they are more compact.
Y-
I-
yes,
Mhm.
pretty much goes everywhere. And it's a lot more fun to be in VR and have a nice environment.
What? Go everywhere. You're going everywhere on wheels. What the hell? Hell, you can be in my
That's what the car
backyard and wouldn't
does.
even know it. I wouldn't even know where the hell you're at. All of a sudden you're there. Hey, look,
Oh, I'm
the
not
only thing
admitting
it's
to
good.
anything. That way, you will know when I pass by. It'll be the car swerving.
Well, it ain't. Oh my God, I can't tell what I'm getting. The biggest thing of the whole thing of it, no matter what, they're mobile.
Mm.
That's the biggest thing. Knowing they're in VR, yeah, they've got the wide screen of doing everything they need, but they're mobile. So there's never a
Yeah.
point where they're at one place or another, no matter what the ordeal is, and that's smart.
Mm.
That's very
Yeah, so
smart.
all of our some of the companies built to allow people to work mobily. So because most of the time we work hard to eventually travel, but we're building it in a way that allows people to work remotely and travel. We actually have a 5-year our goal. We've been looking into placing about 1,200 people before we really pursue purchasing. We're looking at purchasing a used cruise ship that would allow people to work and travel. So imagine staying like off the coast of Greece or off the coast of New Zealand, and it would be a business incubator on site. We would have entrepreneurs on residence. We would have maker spaces. And the funny thing is, it's weirdly feasible. Even a $30 million ship, if you split the payments over the 20-year term, your payment per cabin for let's say you have 2,700 rooms is about $50 a month over that course of those. And
Oh
so
wow.
we can do it in a way that it's cost effective. So even if we're charging $800 a month, that covers the cost of the maintenance, the cost of the crew. It allows people to have that flexibility and affordability, and plus being business oriented, everything is 100% tax deductible. So your cabin, your travel, your food, you can then file at the end of the year as far as a tax base.
Oh
So
wow.
it's essentially entrepreneurship or program on based on the water that allows us to spend more time in a location. So unlike this typical cruise line that is at a location for a day, then you have to rush to get back and everybody's kind of hoping you miss it sort of thing. The idea is that we actually stay in one location at a month at a time. It reduces the wear and tear on the ship itself, and it gives us the financial power to put it back into those communities where we're at. So
Okay.
can you imagine, instead of all this distraction where you're spending so much time on the ship and you're doing all these, the idea is to take the people that are on board the ship and put the finances back into the communities. So you're visiting different cultures and things like that. So
I got another
but yeah,
question
it's
for
cool.
that. I got another
Sure.
question on that. Basically, if you're on a cruise, no matter what, and you're in neutral waters, you don't have taxes. So how do you have taxes on something that you're in neutral waters?
Yeah, it depends on where you have registered your business. So if your business is located in the U.S., you are still responsible for paying U.S. tax. So
Okay,
as a U.S. citizen, even
gotcha.
if you get revenue abroad, you still have to pay taxes.
Mm.
Okay, I gotcha. So that answers my question. Because
Yeah.
I go, most people I know when a business is in neutral waters and stuff like this, and they don't have a residence, there is no taxes. So if they're in neutral
It
waters and
still,
don't have, yeah, you still got to
well,
pay
it varies.
taxes somewhere. Yeah, it varies, but
Mm-hmm.
it varies and everything else. Because I
Yeah.
know of one company that's outside of neutral waters in California that takes all the wood chips that come from the United States and they ship them out, and there's barges of this stuff. loads of ships, and they make plywood, ship it back, and then they make the money for the plywood that's being built on these barges. That's where most of a
Yes,
lot of our ply. So I
yeah.
was just curious.
They should be paying. So they should be paying taxes if they're a U.S. based company, but it depends on the people on board. If they're registered in another country, then that's where they'd be paying their taxes too. But the
That's just
idea with the shared workspaces and having it as a coaching, it allows people to get over those like typical things that would allow have a business fail. So it's not just the standard business. We would have like restaurant incubators on site. Even the people that would be cleaning the ship would technically be their own business. That the funding, a portion of the funding that comes from the staffing agency and from the community would be going back into grants that would help people expand their business or whether it's hiring more people or it's having that sort of financial safety net for a wider group of people. So breaking people out of that
I got
the cycle of poverty from one generation to the next.
Got another one for it and everything else like this. What did it take for this idea to slightly decline? Just what you're saying. What did it take to get, you got to have people on board with the idea, it's just one of those things. What did it take to get it started?
Well, to get it started, a lot of it's just being in the transit industry and working multiple industries and seeing how people are treated in the workplace, but also giving people that flexibility to not just put all their eggs in one basket as far as work. If you're working for one company and you lose that job, now you're out looking for work. It could be 6 months, it could be a year. But if we take people on board as contractors, they can work for a number of clients. But instead of them having to worry about the invoices, that's what our EOR company takes care of. We're partnered up with a company called Back Office Staffing Solutions. So what the candidate does or what the individual does, they have to submit a timesheet every Sunday by midnight, and the client approves that by Monday by midnight. And instead of the contractor pursuing the invoices and chasing after bills and things like that, they get paid weekly regardless of if the invoice is paid. So we get paid once the invoice is paid, but the main thing is that I care about is, are the people doing the work actually paid every week? Because we never want to put someone in a situation where you're putting the hours in, but now your boss shorts you $500 or $1,000, because that can really hurt somebody or hurt somebody's family. So a lot of companies, they're not so much concerned about the people that work for them. Like there was a survey done recently. They said that the reason why these major corporations wanted people to start working in the office is because they actually wanted the people to quit. That a vast majority of them, and that's kind of a sad situation where you don't care about the people that work for you. So it's a bit of a different mindset. Like the cruise ship idea came from us having meetings. We were having our weekly meetings at a yacht club, and one of our members says, do you ever think of like maybe we'll get an office? And I said, I don't want to be stuck in an office, because those honestly, like the cubicles, they're soul killers in a way. You're trudging into the office every single day. But having a cruise ship that if you're splitting the payments over time and you're looking at the financial aspect, it's cheaper to do that than it is to pay for the cost of travel for that many people, the cost of the hotel and the cost of the food and everything else. It just becomes weirdly feasible, So it's a matter of like part of this endeavor is finding people that want to work remotely and that want to come on board the ship later on once it's built out. So we've looked into a couple of cruise ships that range from 15 to 30 million. But the idea is that we get something that going to kind of hit the ground running, take it as is. Doesn't kind of matter how the furniture. If the furniture's all, it's okay. We can renovate. But spending the first year of looking at the ship layer by layer and saying, well, how would you like to use that space? Do we want to make our space over here? Do we want how do we want to renovate? We know we don't want casinos. We don't want things that encourage people not to learn how to save for their retirement. We want is a sort of different way of being, So part of that, we have a teacher that's coming on board with us who's got her master's degree in teaching and worked locally for the local schools. And so her job will be building out a curriculum that's teaching kids how to think outside the box and be creative. And, let's say, you have a kid that's 10 years old and they say, I want to start a vending machine business. Well, where does the funding come from? If the parent doesn't have the funding, why can't the community as a whole or as a staffing agency supply the funding and the coach to make sure that they're successful? So they learn how to negotiate, they learn how to expand their business, they learn how to go in and get contracts and help them through that process. And if they find they don't like that business and they want to try something else, we can support that too. Teaching kids that failure is okay. Failure is where you learn success. And it doesn't have to be so intense. So it's very much of a different mindset than I think the typical business. Also, we look at in a year of somebody being with us, we do offer profit sharing. So the more revenue the company makes as a whole, it goes right back into the community. So, over time, the revenue share will start at 10%, but that will grow over time. Because if you really think about it, how much does a CEO or the heads of a company really need? I don't need $1 million salary. I don't, And what's when you look at what wealth, the true wealth is being able to experience different cultures and travel and get to know people. And like when you think about it, when you pass on, you don't take that wealth with you. But if in this lifetime I can help a greater community of people, then that's what brings me joy. That's for me the true wealth.
Wow.
So there's staffing agencies as a whole, they can make a great deal of revenue. You look at Apple One makes $3 billion a year, but they keep it all for themselves. Imagine if they take that and you put that among a larger group of people and what you can do for your community. Let's say we have somebody working for us and God forbid they're in a coma. They've lost that additional revenue, but if the community can support that and that family doesn't have to worrying about food and that, normally there's not that support. So that's what we're building in the long term. Right now it's placing people for work and finding the right clients for them and making sure that they're happy. So if we place somebody for work and they're not happy with the client, maybe they're not being treated well, we have open door policy for them to come to us and say this is what they're doing isn't right. And we either deal with the client or we look for additional work for them. So we want people to be happy in what they're doing and who they're working with. So it's not all just about the client.
I want signed up.
You're welcome to sign up. I mean, everybody's welcome.
I'll sign up. I've got a lot of open doors, but we have, with people like this is great. Wow. I didn't even know things like this existed.
Neither did I.
Holy shit.
Oh.
We're learning every time in here. We're learning.
Yeah,
that's what's great about VR. We're learning more and more what people were doing in here, and more power to you. Keep pushing. My vote's for you. Keep going.
I appreciate
Don't stop.
that. So,
yes, please keep going.
There's so much that can be done in VR, and it's strange when you look at something that big, and you think, well, doesn't it cost a lot? The first thing is you think, well, the boats cost a lot. And it's sort of this hesitancy to kind of make those steps. But if on average the cost of maintenance on their boat is 30% the cost of whatever you're getting. So if it's a $30 million boat, then it costs 30%. So you just average that out every year and then you tack it on, but have enough for a contingency plan. So if something happens, you've got everything taken care of. We do have one of our members that's going to be handling the ship side security. So unlike typical cruise lines, we will actually have our own protection on board the ship. When you're crossing through, the Somali area, it costs about $500,000 to have about 11 warships following that ship so you have an outside perimeter. And we will have, our goal is to have things like drones and things like that to keep an outside perimeter because it's really us or them. And our most valuable thing on board is the people, the kids. We're going to have families and children. So if we have somebody that wants to work aboard the ship, it's not just that one person. It's a family as a whole. So these are the teenagers, the kids, and so we look at it as sort of like it's actually cheaper to buy a ship than it is to buy a building on the land, which is strange.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, there was a project in Ventura called the Wave Project. It cost him $50 million to create that from the ground up, and I'm like, well, we can do that for less. As our building, we can at least get it off, get the ship going, and then generate revenue over time, and then layer by layer renovate it. So the idea is to actually bring back maritime apprenticeships, so people learn different aspects of construction, and those that are going to be on board the ship, like let's say you're on board, you will actually get the opportunity to design your space if you're planning on being there full time, a couple of years. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to be able to say, you know what, I kind of want to have, maybe my office space here, or I'd like the bed to come up. But we'll have a general theme, but the idea is that people have something that brings them relaxation and joy every time they walk in those doors. So every cabin will be a sort of a live/work office space. So you can have it as office space, or you can live in it. You can have your family there. You have your dogs. Or, we don't plan on leaving Fido behind. So it's a major endeavor. We have different people coming on at different aspects. We are looking into also like addressing human trafficking, because really when you rescue someone out of human trafficking, normally the solution is only to take them from land-based to land-based solution. But being shipboard, we can take somebody on board, help them with their doctors and therapists and things like that, find things for them to do as far as work. But there are humanitarian aid organizations that go back to their home countries and get their documentation for them. So that way it allows us to place them with work elsewhere. So it gets them out of some tough situations that is hard to address otherwise. So it's being ready for those situations, because if we're going through the Mediterranean, there's hundreds of people that die every year because they're trying to cross these rough waters. But if we can intercept and help people out in the meantime, and as a staffing agency, we can find work for them remotely, as they're trying to get their paperwork in order. So there's all sorts of solutions that we can provide it depending on the situation. We are looking into eventually allowing grants. So if someone wants to go back and focus on getting their degrees or their bachelor, we'll offer grants for that as well, because it's really difficult to pull 14 units of school and then have 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. But if we do it in a way that's affordable, or we do it through offer grants, then people are able to get those higher paying jobs or do something that they love and enjoy, rather than being stuck in financial disparity. So those are our long-term goals.
Wow. It sounds like you're up to a lot. I would be stupid not to ask this question. What started Valkyriestaffing, and what was the inspiration behind it? What made you want to start, and what drives you?
Honestly, it was the original goal was aiming at the transit industry, and knowing that usually bus drivers were like, because I have my Class B license, and I've pulled 130 hours a week, and you're exhausted, you're tired, you get 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and you're expected to be behind the wheel. And when you have 45 passengers, and you're blacking out because you're tired, and yet when you try to call out, they say, well, you're the only one we have, so you're pushing yourself. So it's the staffing agency started as a way to address those issues and give people a right to say, you know what, I'm tired, and not be punished for that, and giving them the flexibility of say, you know what, I will take this charter for 2 or 3 days, and after that I'm going to take a break and have that flexibility, and give people that option to travel and work. Because really there's no other staffing agency that focuses on the Class B driver as far as the motor coach industry. It's mostly like the Class B4 driving box trucks or semi trucks for Class A. So this addresses that need, because there's an intense shortage of drivers. So it means that the rest of the drivers are picking up the slack. So I mean, if you're really thinking about it, it's also very dangerous. It's providing living wage jobs. So our goal is not to place somebody at $15 an hour, because realistically that's not going to make your ends meet. So our goal is to place people at jobs that actually pay the bills. So whether it's $25 an hour, if you need $35 an hour. So we have a sales team that actually goes out and negotiates on your behalf. So we sit down with you and say, what's your ideal rate? If your ideal rate is $80 an hour, then we push for that. But if on a project it's short term, you're like, well, I'll accept 50 for this, then we'll negotiate. So the idea is to get something that the candidates are happy with, So you're not just struggling, because it shouldn't have to be that you're living paycheck to paycheck, because that's not really a way of living.
Mm.
So
Fun.
that's our
Oh
goal.
Wow.
my
That's
God,
why we
do it.
have a team.
Wow.
I know that one for a fucking fact.
As we all do.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is so interesting using this question. So
Mm.
I guess Merp. So he's one of the co-founders of the company itself and handles the tech department. So
Oh, wow.
eventually he'll actually be in charge of we'll be creating the ship all in virtual reality, so our security team can practice in those different scenarios, because there's going to be situations that if we're crossing through, like I said, where there's pirate territory, they need to know that ship inside and out and how to handle it and things like that. So
Mm.
part of it's, and it also lets us see how the spaces are utilized and visualize things. So we've been using a lot of AI to show simulations of what the parts of the ship can look like. So like mid-journey and things like that, and it gives a pretty good idea. So we integrate sustainable models. We're looking into, there's a company called New Forest that does 3D printing of wood. So the idea is that we take these large scale printers that print in wood, and what looks like an intricately carved, let's say dragon, for example, can be printed in a short amount of time, and it could be already created within the 3D environment. So we'll already know what things will look like before we ever get that ship, really, or before we ever, get to that point where we're fully remodeling with the construction. So
Wow.
there's a lot of flexibility, and with New Forest they can recreate and even simulate the wood grain. So if we want red wood or whatever, and it allows more sustainable practice. And also, typically when you're carving something and like furniture, it could take, depending on intricate, it can take a year or so. Even if you're doing piece of just one piece of furniture, so that'll speed up the process, quite a bit, and allow people that are working in 3D or they want to model out their space to be creative. I mean, especially the idea is to have these 3D printers on the board. So if you want to design your space in a certain way and you've modeled something out, you can say, well, I could just print it, and put it out there. So, we want people to be creative, from textiles to electronics, but providing those maker spaces that allows that flexibility in order to test those ideas out. And also having opportunities that people that are working government contractors to have a private area that they can do those contracts, because when you're working with your top secret client, you just can't have people walking behind you, you know. So there's a lot of different needs that we're addressing and different ideas that people have. So it's a long, intensive plan. So and it takes years of planning, and there are grants available. There are maritime grants for renovating ships and making them more sustainable. There are grants for the entrepreneurs, the in residence, so there's all sorts of things that we can do. It's just a matter of putting everything in the right place and taking the right steps to get it done.
Oh, wow.
So
So,
yeah, it's a major project.
oh, sounds like a major project. I'm glad there's someone actually doing something like that. It sounds really sick.
Yeah, wow.
I thought you were going to
no
ask me if
doubt.
I'm driving the ship with the VR headset.
No.
It's.
I thought. Wait a minute. Well, hold the thought. If you pulled up through a drive-through at a ship, I want to know where the hell you parked that bitch. That's all I can fucking say. And I want to know what the drive-through looks like. Oh, hold on. We got 860 passengers that want hamburgers. You ready for this? I hope your order's ready.
I feel
Holy
so
crap.
bad for that McDonald's that gets that cruise ship order for an entire company. We have 12,000 people who want Big Macs. We want 12,000 orders of fries and water. We'll wait till you're done.
Boats on idle.
By semi-truck.
Yeah, semi truck. Yeah, air it in. Hell with that. You just gotta fly it in. There it is. We got the food. Yeah, we got it.
So that $30 million ship sleeps about 2,700 people. Imagine that many burgers.
Oh my
I could see
God.
somewhere there's a McDonald's employee or a fast food employee
Wow.
watching us and just looking at us going, no, I quit. I don't want to do that.
Oh, I'm out. You ain't paying me
Or we
enough.
can do
I'm
Starbucks.
going to the ship. I'm going to the
Or we
ship.
could do-
Forget that. I'm jumping ship and getting on.
I have something better for you. You could go to Starbucks and have every one of those people have an individualized, very long order.
Oh my God. My God. No.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh.
The workday will end eventually.
3 days later, hey, I'm still waiting for my coffee. Where the hell's my coffee? I've been waiting. I already got it tomorrow already. Yeah, I already got my coffee yet. Can't start the day without my coffee. I'm getting it tomorrow. No problem, but it'll be there.
Well, at least it
Boy.
eventually gets there. You know, patience is a
Yeah,
virtue.
sir. Yeah, you got it. Very much so.
I have another
Very much
weird
so.
question I'd like to ask you that I think it'd be a shame not to ask. You as a company who are utilizing VR and metaverse technologies, what needs to change for it to be more sustainable within like the platforms and the technology?
You know, that's a very good question, actually. As far as like, how do you think like I think part of it is advertising. So a lot of people, when you talk to them about utilizing the VR headset for work, they don't even know you can hook up a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard. I have a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard, and I work completely in VR. So I do contracts in VR, video editing, audio, creating magazine in VR. So even I take phone calls through my Oculus, using the Google Voice app. So there's a lot of capability with it. I think the thing is a misconception that it's only game based. So when I talk to people, they say, "Oh, you work in it? I thought it was only for games." So and I get that there's a big push in that direction because that's a lot of the interest, but I think it would help the industry as a whole knowing that you can work in it. So that's also part of our push is to look for people who want to work using the Oculus or using, the VR headsets and work remotely anywhere in the world. So, speaking of which, like the internet on board that ship, the Starlink actually has a program that you can have Starlink just for cruise ships, so we can make sure everybody stays connected. And if you're dealing with a client, you don't like just suddenly disconnect because now you're a mile out. So.
I got to swim back to get the internet. Hope my headset don't get
like
wet.
just hold my phone up.
Yeah, hold of my headset up. Get signal. Yeah, I got signal. I'll put it on. Yeah, oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, crap. It's gone again. I got to pull it out a little bit further. Yeah.
For
Hope
some
the boat
reason,
don't leave me. I hope it's still tied. I hope I'm tied in the rowboat and I'm waiting for it to go out so I get my signal. My God.
I'm getting
jump
vibes
on
from
board with the Somali pirates.
Hey, I'm just here. Hey, dude, don't shoot me. I'm just trying to get a signal and get a contract. I'll get off in 5 minutes. Yeah, no problem.
I'm getting old. You know the old cell phone commercials where the guy walking around, "You hear me now?" Good. I'm getting vibes from that, definitely.
Yeah.
Just a dude in a rowboat doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Especially in a large scale. You're holding your signal up like outside the ship, and I can imagine your phone falling.
Oh no.
Out.
Yeah, but God, in a rowboat? God damn it, I can't get the signal. I can't keep my arms straight long enough. Boat, sit still. Damn it. Oh, I got it. Sign, please. Yeah, and you're yelling through your head so you can't see what the hell you're doing. Because you don't even got it on your face.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh my
It's so
God.
intense.
Yeah, tense. After you go, God, I'm back home. I'm back on the ship. How'd your day go? Oh no, it took me 4 hours just to get some guy to sign a contract. What the hell? Wasn't he going to sign it? Oh, he was signing, but I had to tell him to hold because I couldn't get the signal. Oh, you had that problem too. I had that last week. I was a real bitch. Holy shit, it took everything out of me.
Oh.
Oh boy.
So with companies or some of the ones you work with, what do you think it would take to get more people to know that exists for advertisement? And are there any hesitancies with the technology?
I think one of the biggest hesitancy is with clients is a lot of times they want somebody in house. So it's convincing that it's actually really cost effective to have somebody that's remote, so they're not having to get distracted by people that are coming around them or being a lot more effective. So I found the people that we've talked to, they're a lot more effective when they're able to focus and not have, Karen from HR come behind them and say, well, did you see my email? Did you, so I think it's going to be, that is a lot of the negotiations, and it's educating clients, because there's millions of people that want remote work, um, worldwide. In one of the groups I had, there's about 66,000 people looking for positions remotely. So it's a matter of finding companies that are willing to pay a living wage, and paying people what they're worth, and educating them about the benefits of hiring people remotely. So as part of
Oh,
it, the main thing
wow.
is education.
Wow. Okay. That's actually really. So, do you think in time with more education, do you think the technology will be used by companies more? Do you think it would be a semi of both real life and meet space or virtual space?
Honestly, I think it'd be so of both. I think it is a lot more efficient, especially when you're dealing with people abroad. It's a lot easier to get the body language in VR than when you have this 30-minute conversation, via phone or via a Zoom call. I think you get to know somebody a lot better in a VR environment, because you're seeing you're seeing the body language, getting to know them. And so, personally, I'm very much an advocate for VR and working in VR and having a hybrid approach. So, I do have a tablet that I work on. So when I'm like, if at a restaurant, I don't want to get stuff all over my headset, I use that. But pretty much the most effective thing for me is Oculus. I would like to see them integrate more capabilities of software. Like, you can't load some Google applications onto the headset. So as far as side loading the SDKs, so having more flexibility to be able to integrate things right away into it, like whether it's like I use like Microsoft Word and Excel in my like I've side loaded it. So,
Oh, wow.
but having more of that native approach, yeah.
Okay.
So it is kind of fun to have
Fine.
Excel spreadsheets surrounded.
Lion,
you
there's
can-
somebody else we know very well that does the same thing they do and everything else, but he uses a big screen beyond. You know who I'm talking about.
Slime?
He's part.
That community?
No. Yeah, no, not the slime. Yeah, well, Fern and Z-Rock.
Oh, yes,
Fern
yes,
uses
yes.
his head. Fern uses his head. Fern. What? What?
She's
What?
just going up
What
behind
happened?
you, walks up and starts petting your head.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine. I'm an old man. You can pet the old man. It's no big deal. I don't mind at all. I've been like this for quite a while. But
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But she's having way too much fun. But Fern does it with the big screen beyond by using multiple, because they are two screens. So he has more of, and he uses it a lot so he can concentrate on his work that he's doing. Wait a minute. You're not married, are you? Are you married? Are you flirting with me? Are you flirting with me?
You're so tiny.
So that's it. It's the tiny thing. You don't have to worry about flirting with me just because I'm tiny. I've been like this for 5-6 years. I've been small for a long time, but I catch up. But wow, okay, yeah, okay. Well, she's up. I like this person. We got to talk to her more often. I just like just straight up, man. This is great shit. Sneaky goddamn woman. Well, I have nothing to do with a woman not being sneaky, man. I don't care who you are.
I just like seeing the look on your face as you turn around.
I'm just curious. Do you plan on doing any of this on land? Mobily working
we
it
do.
that
So
way.
originally, the concept actually for the shipboard, like the entrepreneurship, was planning to be land based. We are still looking into that in the future. But the idea is to give to have a mixed use space where even for oversized vehicles like RVs and semi trucks can have a safe place that they can live and work, as also like shared office space. So if it's land-based, then we would have, like organic store, we'd have live workspaces, shared workspaces, places for them to have their pets, safely, and have offices. Because typically when people are over the road, when you see where these people are parked, it's not safe. You get a lot of truck stops aren't safe for truck drivers. They also don't provide a lot of facilities for them, and where the dogs are walking around, and there's a lot of glass and things like that. So providing a safe environment for that, and also places for them to have their families. So because the way to structure it is to be membership based. So let's say if you're paying $800 a month for your office space, then that would go to any property, whether it's shipboard, land base, and it would just, if you're just transferring one to another, you've already paid your membership. So that would just go along with you. So you're not having to pay a deposit here and a deposit there. That would allow you the flexibility to say, well, let me spend 6 months in Greece, or let me spend, 6 months over here, depending on where your client is at. So, again, the idea is to provide those business coaches to allow people to succeed, because it is difficult for a lot of people that are interested to start a business, but to know what to do and what steps to take. So it's providing opportunities for people to find success.
Okay. So
I don't trust her now. You're an ornery goddamn woman. Holy shit, I like her. Wow. You got an extra pocket back there. You can put me in, I'll go somewhere. Don't answer that. Be a nice guy. Don't be a sick bitch. Okay.
I'm gonna be quite honest with you. The first time he started reaching out for me, he's like, "Lion, we know someone who does that too." I see slowly inching up behind him. I tried really hard to keep a straight face, but I just couldn't.
He'd ruin anything. He just can't keep it in the bag. But hey, it's cool. It's fine. I've been patted. I've been carried. We'll tell you more bad stories later. But
he's got, to be honest, he's got some nicknames because of his size.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do, folks. If you want to know that information, the information will be in the back. Just add it, and we'll get it there. Now I sound like lying. Just put your name down there, and we'll tell you in our own little situation, okay? No problem.
Join the Discord. You'll find out lots of those nicknames there.
Oh, yeah. Boy. But,
so I can tell you a funny story of with my Quest 2. I carried everywhere. So normally when I was in between my shifts driving the buses, I would, take it outside and, face the bus and start playing whatever. But so one day I was actually at the Metrolink station, and I decided to play, that space pirate game. But all people can see from the back, they can't see the headset. They just see this crazy lady just making all these sort of motions. So I get this radio call from my boss. They're like, can you come into the office? So they thought they were getting multiple calls, thinking that there's this crazy bus driver that's angry at the bus or something like that. Maybe they're like, we're not sure if you need a drug test or whatever. But I was like, no, I'm just gaming.
A drug test? Wow, the lady out there that drives the bus is flipping shit, man. Well, I don't know if I want to ride anymore. I just want to get off here. Right now. Get off now. No more worried about what the ordeal is. I just want to get off. Please let me off.
So
Get me off the bus. All she's doing is playing with a headset, fool. What's wrong with you?
And that's why I got the loudest. I went to Amazon that night and said I bought the loudest speaker that I can have. So when I'm playing games, people know she's playing games. She's not crazy. So, I'm like, I thought I looked cool making this Matrix-like moves, but apparently not. It looked like I'm a little psychotic. So, especially when they can't see the controllers. They're just like...
Oh my God.
So
I bet she's got some stories. I bet this woman's got one hell of a bunch of stories. Oh, hell of a bunch of stories.
Or, like, we'll take this. We used to take this like to Subway, so we'd hang out both on our VR headset, and you'd see people just walking by staring. They don't know whether we can see them. So now we go, hey, how are you?
And waving at him. It's new sunglasses that protects my eyes from the sun, okay? It just helps. It works, okay? I don't have to worry about all that stuff is blocked out all the way around, no problem. Oh boy.
It's so funny what people do when they think you can't see them. You're like, you're staring right at them, and they're just
Yeah,
You know,
they do
they can't
stupid
figure
shit. They do stupid shit in front of you, and you just start laughing.
You know,
Hey,
so
Merp, did you tell them going to when we went up to the Meta?
oh
so
no.
so when
Here
so
it comes. I'm ready for this. I'm sitting back ready for this. I'm in my chair. I'm ready. Throw it at me. I want to hear this.
so Merp is very much a technical person. So you know, he's got these what is it? He's got these glasses that have a screen on them. You know, it looks very professional. So we walk into their store and we wanted to see one of their higher end headsets. So the first one has an issue and the second one has an issue. But Merp, he just said, well, let me just help him out. So he starts going through everything to try to fix the issue. And the gal that was starting the headset sort of just sits back. So now she's wondering, like, who is this person that's coming here to try to fix it? So they started to think that he was part of Facebook somehow. But it was so funny because when they were talking, they were so nervous. They were like, hands were shaking. I'm like, I don't know who they thought he was. And they kept saying, oh, yeah, sir, we'll try to fix this for you. You think it'd be okay? We, fix it by tomorrow. And Merp just kind of got distracted with something, and he didn't respond. But you know when you have your boss and you say something and they don't respond, you think, okay, maybe I didn't give the right answer. So they look to each other and they're like handlers. They go, well, okay, well, what do we do by tomorrow, sir? We'll fix your headset. They kept saying your headset. It's not his headset. We didn't bring in a headset. And it was just so funny. It's like they're like shaking in their boots, their hands are shaking, and I'm like, who do they think he is? Because he was, he was saying, well, he was explaining to him that he works in development and things like that, but we kind of forgot to say that he doesn't do with he does with our company, so, and with as much knowledge, he had more knowledge about the headsets than they did because he had spent such a long time with the Quest 2 trying to solve all the issues. So he knows that, unfortunately, every which way. So it was just super funny, and just seeing how nervous they were. I'm like, and they even the manager took a photo of him and the manager. I'm like, and then it was the Monday after there comes this article out in the news talking about the issues with the Pro 2, and they were like talking about the stocks dropping, and now this having issues, maybe the Apple will have, and it's just like, I'm like, I said, Jeremy, you gotta watch what you say, because I think it went up the chain. I think they thought he was maybe someone higher up, and that they weren't able to resolve those issues. So I don't know. Thing seemed to lead to another, and we were just in there just to like get controllers. But he gets into his mode. I'm like, okay, let's fix the issue, because he's such a technical guru.
Hmm.
So we were tempted to go
Remind me
back
never
next
to
time with
bump
him.
heads. Remind me never to bump heads with him at Best Buy. I just came in here for a fucking goddamn TV remote, and he's fixing it, and I got the old one in my hand. That would probably be the
He did
truth.
the same thing. Oh, he did that same thing at Apple, which is a little bit more intentional. Ask what you're asking, questions about the LiDAR and things like that, and they had no clue. It was so funny.
So I have another random
Wow.
question for you. What initially got you into using VR, and what was your initial
It
steps
was
into it?
Merp. I know. So he got this to have something lightweight and that would we could take anywhere, and I just thought, well, let me just try this once just to see. And I wasn't planning on getting it, but then when I tried it, it was like your eyes, your kind of whole world opens up of what you can do. I'm like, oh, I could work on it. I could do this. So I ended up getting one for myself as well, and then just like letting go of my laptop because I don't need it anymore. I can work anywhere,
Hmm.
But
Okay.
it's so much more fun to work in VR, instead of a standard computer.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's a
It
lot
is,
more
yeah.
fun. I'm sure it's also more fun to explain to other people around you or clients what that plastic potato on your face is and what you do with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm.
Well, I was talking
Hey,
to one of
Mom.
my candidates,
Mom, I want what she's got on top of her head. It's so cool. It's a new. It looks like the new trend. Look out there. It's okay. It's just the bus driver trying to get her game in before she goes back on the bus. Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
Whoa.
Ah man.
Oh wow. So with that said, what were some of the first things you've used in VR? What were some of your first games or applications outside of work?
Well, Space Pirate was one of them, and then you were going away. And then Beat Saber.
You know, at this rate, Raptor, we're gonna have to
Beat
get
Saber was
Raptor
one of them.
plushies.
No! We've already talked about this. I said no. He won't listen. Don't listen, man.
Because I think it's a good idea. It could sell a lot. Yeah.
Me and Lion have come up with. You got to understand, we're new to this as much. We've only been 2 years of broadcasting and everything else, folks. And some of the ideas we bounce back and forth, and it's just the two of us. We don't have anybody else except for our secretary that helps him out because he gets over bunctious and stuff like this on stuff like this and everything else. And I'm the older guy. You got to realize I'm older than he is. I'm probably older than you are. But I have fun in here with the people you meet and the stuff we talk about and stuff like this. And people patting me on the head that I don't know very well. But, it's not a problem and everything else because it's just VR. But I can imagine the stuff that you can actually do if you look outside the box, Line. Logically look at it. I keep telling you, we're just scratching the surface. And VR is the next step to what you can scratch. And it's how you use it and how you use it properly.
You are lucky that you're getting to this now because I used to do government contracting. So way back in the day before these headsets were more of a thing, like we bought one of those $50,000 headsets and it didn't even have any gyroscope tracking. So it was like having a phone plastered to your head. And it's interesting to see it come along from that to what it is now and seeing it's like the wider like applications and how you can do so much with it, how you can do, we're looking into there's a LiDAR drones that you can scan miles of terrain. So that includes even historical buildings and stuff like that. And putting that into VR and also integrating it with AI and NPCs that allows kids to experience these things. So imagine instead of just like looking at the Roman Colosseum and being able to kind of dial the time back and say what's it like to be among the gladiators, or what was Mount Vesuvius like, and experiencing things in a safe environment. It also allows for people that are, let's say, stuck in a hospital bed that can't travel to go and experience things. And now that there's an integration of haptic suits, people can see and feel things, as well. So it's going to be interesting in the next coming years to see how things develop and being able to say, you know what, I want to build out my furniture. I want to build it and just hit print. That would be a nice integration from the headset. Just like print it from the headset and say, I want that. Let me create that really quickly. Or have it sent out to whatever platform that we're using and then having it shipped. So there's a lot of integrations that can happen and a lot of development that can occur. So it's interesting seeing that over the years, and that was like what, almost 20 years ago, that back when I first encountered the VR headset.
Oh wow.
I'm like, that was awful. Yeah, no, I mean, like you get so sick just walking around, and it was even the simple box models. They couldn't have any ability to have textures. That was that bad. It was a lot. So now, last thing I heard is that headset somewhere on one of the naval bases in a closet somewhere.
Oh. You mentioning that whole the old school VR headsets. I think my first interaction with a VR headset, a friend of mine had this really bulky, heavy weighted thing where you fought wireframe ninjas or something, and you threw ninja stars at them or something simple like that, and it was the coolest. It was like early 2000s, I think. I don't remember the exact model, but it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Heavy though.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The first one I ever had is when Cabela's, you know what Cabela's is, right? Here in the United States, the fishing company, fishing, hunting.
Yeah.
They had a setup there. It cost you so much, and you were on a complete solid ring platform. You walked into it, you put this headset on. Holy criminy. Thing looked like, well, it was bigger than a goddamn space helmet. and you put it on your face, and all you were doing was shooting a bear. That's all it did. You shot a bear. You picked up the gun that you could see. You picked up the gun and you walked around and you watched and everything else like this. I got to do it. My dad goes, "Why do you want to waste your?" And it was like a video game that they were experimenting with, and it was all you were doing was shooting a bear, and people were walking by just watching it. What the hell is that? And Cabela's had that in every one of their major big areas and everything else. I don't know where the thing ever went to or whatever, but it's something, it's still a landmark that you got to realize that technology has got us where we are now, and people were just throwing it out there. It was new stuff that was coming up and everything else like this, and it's unreal. And me having one on, the only reason I got one on is I got one for my daughter. I got the first one for my daughter to help her with her anxiety. Like you say, it helps in different forms in a reaction. And I tried it on to see what it was like first. And being stupid, I got on a roller coaster. That was dumb. I was okay until the last drop. And man, I couldn't put a headset on for 3 days because wow. And it was a Quest 2. I put on my first Quest 2. I still have a Quest 2. I'm moving slowly up, but you know, the technology, like what you're saying and what it can be used for, me and Line bounce ideas and stuff like that out there. It just, we look at each other, it can't be done. But now,
it can be.
Now, Line, it can be done. And she's telling us it can be done. It just, it's always the one thing that slows everybody down, and that's the mighty dollar. The ideas are there. It's just the people to get together. I keep saying this. Might not be my time, but sooner or later, all those guys that have got so many ideas are going to slam together and go, "We're going to do this." Give them time. They did it before. They did it once before. That's what the cruise ship idea
is about.
They did it once before. They did it once before because remember way back you had Commodore, you had Apple, and you had IBM computers, and that's all you had, and that's all schools had. Look where we're at now, and look what's coming down the line. Sooner or later, they're going to combine, and don't get me wrong, everybody's out to make that mighty buck, no matter how, and that's why they're not pushing the direction. But sooner or later, they will.
But imagine having an environment where the idea it was behind the cruise ship is even as soon as you walk in, what do you walk into? You walk into an environment where you're like you've got a creative space over here, you've got 3D printers over here. So it's all centered around that creativity and that openness to testing those ideas and funding it. You know, so you look at that 14-year-old kid that now has they say that he can clean up the ocean maybe in the next 4 years of all those garbage patches. So he came up with this technology, and then he presented, and he now has an investor. That what they did is they did a LiDAR scan over the ocean, and they thought that the debris would be mostly large, particulates, but they found that it was smaller. So they went back to the drawing board, changed it up, and now they're going back out and they're currently doing preliminary testing. I think it's like 1819 now. And so they estimate that with this technology, they can clean up those giant garbage patches within the next 4 years.
Oh, wow.
But it takes the funding and it takes the people that instead of saying, I can't do this, well, maybe something that needs to be developed to do those things that we need to do. So, and even like you're talking about with your daughter that has anxiety, so many people I know have anxiety, and this is what helps overcome. Imagine like even having an environment where you have let's say you have an NPC dragon that you talk to, and with AI, you can have a safe space that you can talk to and get advice, and where on a daily basis the dragon says, hey, how are you doing, and can talk with you and say, well, maybe I'm dealing with a situation with a friend. How do I approach this? Already the ChatGPT does that. I use that. I have a one that I train for therapy and things like that, and you put it in talk mode and say, well, let me deal with this, or maybe help me to negotiate this. If I sound not confident, tell me how I should do this better. But imagine in a VR environment where the kids can have an NPC that they talk to that doesn't judge them. That's they can change the look of. It can be their little like familiar or their pet or whichever. So it allows a lot of flexibilities and allows children to learn how to speak up for themselves and allow us to gain confidence. And I think it's a different when you look at even friendships. Normally people think of friendships, oh, you got to be in person, but this allows you to talk to people from all across the globe, everywhere, so you can make more friendships than you would have otherwise. So like we're meeting people from all over. Like one of our team members is from Finland. Now we have another one from Florida that she'll be managing all the intense project management, making sure that we get it off the ground and get grants and things like that. And so, but yeah, it opens up a lot of possibilities, and it's finding the right people that if when you present them to an idea, it's not I can't. That'll never happen. It's because people, they have their anxieties that stops them from being successful, or stops them from putting those ideas into play, or saying, well, I don't have the money. Well, there's grants available, there's SBA grants available, there's maritime grants available, there's all sorts of things, there's business investors if you get to that point. But how do you, like, what about if you're at a point where you're building revenue and now you want an angel investor? How do you negotiate with them? How do you, like, what about having an environment where you get to learn and you get to practice and then you get to present and have the opportunity and those connections? So it's all about not just connecting people on board this ship, but even, let's say we're in New Zealand, and getting guest speakers on board that teach us about the local culture and learning about the local culture, or understanding, and understanding what the face, like tattoos, what they mean. And it's kind of a way to educate people, because with education it also fights with like racism and things like that. So you get to understand cultures in a very fundamental way. So, but that's why I like VR. You can try so many different things.
All right.
I know. I know they've been talking. They talked way back in the 80s about building cities on the ocean.
Yeah.
So what you're doing and stuff like that, and you're taking it to that step, and more power to everybody that's on board to do, because sooner or later we're going to run, if we do run out of space, we still have the water, because we have plenty,
Yeah.
we got plenty of ocean. But I had somebody sent me a setup. I haven't got around doing it because I just got my new headset. Dumb me, I got the headset, forgot the controller. But she sent me a setup because at the time she's across seas, and the coronavirus hit her so hard that it screwed up her leg motions so
Wow.
badly in her legs. But she was determined that I want to move. She walks. She can only walk maybe a block or maybe two, and she's done. But she gets on a tread bike, and she was exercising, getting her muscles back into movement, because she sat around for so long, couldn't do what, and her muscles were starting to deteriorate. She was in that bad a shape. Well, she got determined, and she got herself a bicycle and stuff like this. Well, she found a program on here that you get into your VR headset. Never a dull moment on our setup.
Right.
If you're gonna order food, make sure you're not bringing the ship in. And she gets on a bicycle and she exercises, and she can go see the world, knowing that one day, I can bicycle in Italy or whatever, and she's actually on a bicycle, and the bike's going, and she gets to go these places that's been recorded by drones and everything else, and shows, and you can take a side seat. It's not just you're only stuck to a certain, you can get off the bike, go do something in one of the stores, or you can interact and all this kind of stuff. And it's a VR unit that it's just a program that you put on your computer, and you can go there and you can exercise. You can walk it. If you don't want to bicycle it, you can walk it. And you can actually get on a treadmill and just walk straight forward. And then you can have, and all that kind of stuff. It's there. We're going places where a lot of, even your elderly, me and Ryan talked about this. You got a lot of elderly people that never got their dreams. They never, they had family. That got shut down. Family came first. The dream of going across seas and seeing some of the country. Now you can actually do it. You just got to put this gear on, and they get to see it. They might not be walking, they might be in a wheelchair, but they get the fun, they get to see the dream that they always wanted to see, knowing it's true to the march of whatever it
Yeah.
is. And it's there. It's just getting there. And we're
Yeah.
slowly getting there.
Mm.
And
But we're,
did
we're
you
also
order my
looking for
food?
people.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, we
You're
are
looking for
also looking
people
for
in
people that are even in people who have retired, who want to see the world, want to explore the world, but don't have that high income that, like, typically cruises charge $2,500 per person per cabin, so they make a lot of money. But if we're only charging per cabin and not per person, and not charging an intense amount, it makes it affordable. So those people that are retired that didn't get to travel can now travel and see the world and explore these things, and even as they're learning about a new location, we can still have, like, we plan on having a gym and spa and board and stuff like that, so they can still experience certain things that maybe they can't do the full walk through the Coliseum, or maybe they can't do certain things, but it allows that flexibility, to do those things. So there's certain things that we believe what we want to pay for in house. Like, we do believe in hiring people to do massage full time, and have doctors within our payroll. That way it controls the cost, so people can have affordable health care. And people, like, let's say you're dealing with a very stressful phone call or whichever, then you can go and get a massage, and it's not additional cost to you.
Mm.
So because the massage helps with anxiety, it helps with depression, it increases serotonin. It's a lot of health benefits to it. So it's an all around, but provide health care. Daycare will be provided for
I want to join.
parents who are
I
working.
want to be on the boat, Ryan. I want to get on the goddamn boat.
I do too. It sounds dope. Although I do have one question with all these things
It
that you
really
want to
does.
provide. Where will you be making the
Mhm.
money to afford these things, to pay for, like, the doctors and the spas and the masseuses?
So the first part is actually the staffing agency. So the way the agencies work is we don't charge a candidate. So, and like Upwork, they take a percentage of your revenue when you're working for them. We actually charge the client. So we charge a percentage above. So in our overall expenses, because of VR and we don't have to have a standard office, our expenses are low. So once we have a certain amount that'll be set aside for contingency, and the rest will be set aside for going back into the community. So
Mm.
viability wise, I mean, technically, once we have 1,200 people placed and are working full time, for every hour they're working, we're generating revenue. And that revenue goes back into profit sharing. It goes back into building this community and building a generational wealth system that supports everybody within the community. If you look at, like, the Indians, so that's how they develop, through the revenue of casinos and things like that. They actually support their community. So imagine that, but on a wider scale for everyone else. Instead of having this cyclical poverty, you build it in such a way that one generation after another can benefit. A portion of the revenue also comes from the business incubator. So those that join as a business incubator, when the standard practice is that when we invest in a company, it's the incubator itself takes anywhere from 10 to 15% of that net revenue. So imagine that 10 or 15% going back into the community itself. And that would go to grants, it would go to healthcare, it would cover some of these different expenses. And it says, well, something happens with that business, and maybe they lost a bunch of contracts, now they can't afford the bills. That's where that funding would come to support people. So it goes right back, because a company really only needs so much revenue. If we do it right, we can do it very affordably. And the thing with the cruise ship is that we're not moving it every day. So the idea is to stay at port, or stay mile off out of port for about a month at a time. And that way you're not having the high cost of the maintenance and everything else, and the fuel, and that gives more time to explore the different communities for those 2,700 people to go actually put their revenue into those local communities. Because imagine you taking that amount of revenue, then now people are going to go to the restaurants, and they're seeing the cultural centers, and we're being back and not being a burden to those communities. Whereas the typical cruise line, they want you spending 100% of your revenue into the ship itself. That's why Carnival, they want to get people drunk before they get on the ship, because you're so drunk, you're partying, and there's all sorts of props. So, we want to build people up, and we want to see communities thrive when going there. So, I have some cousins that were, like, one of mine was a diplomat and in Japan. He's from the Philippines. And so we'd like to invite people like that as guest speakers and to educate people in those communities. So the idea is to provide an environment that opens the doors to those type of opportunities for people. And yeah, we want people to have that opportunity both financially and creatively, and and allows you to work, because I'm like, they're it's easier if someone else is driving, so you can travel, and you be able to spend a month in New Zealand, a month in Greece, and the typical program is ideally around 2 years, but there's no reason that someone can't stay a lot longer. If they just want to stay full time and just continue going, and there's no reason. So we were looking into, the first idea is to get one ship and then eventually to expand it out. So we might have one in Asia, we might have one in going through the river cruises, things like that. So eventually we'd expand the fleet, but the very first thing is getting the first one, doing the trials, going through all the whatever, ironing out any issues and kinks in the model, and then expanding outwards. And then in that way, it's like we were talking about before, when you're paying $800 a month, that can go to any type of like land base or ocean base, and it makes life a lot easier when you can afford the bills.
Yeah, it actually sounds really awesome. Thank you
Yes,
for
indeed.
explaining a bit of that, because I was kind of curious as to that, and I'm glad you explained it to me. So thank you. I very much appreciate
you're
learning about that.
Yeah, you're
Yes, very
welcome.
much so.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to put me on the head again, you can go right ahead. I'll let you put me on my head.
Raptor,
That was better than you glaring at me when you're.
I still think we
Do
need to
what?
make an AI follower of you for people to have other avatars. That would be hilarious.
Oh, God, no. This lady doesn't know me too well. Some of the shit that comes out of my mouth.
We don't
Oh
need
my
to tell
God,
people
she
that.
fuck- she-
They're going to buy the adorable tiny follower AI, and then it's going to start talking about weird
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
It's going to be funny.
No, it's fun.
I think we should totally
right.
do it, and especially with ChatGPT, you can have it with all his personality. I think that'd be great. You put in
I
a
like
kid
her.
toy in there, like.
Yeah, thanks. Now you're ganging up on my ass.
But we need to
Here
keep
it
that same
comes.
personality in the toy itself. I think that'd be great. It's
Yeah.
for the kids.
Well,
You don't do the room, you can yell at them.
It wouldn't be a
they
kid's
don't. Not
toy.
for the
It
kids.
wouldn't be a kid's toy.
It wouldn't be a kid's toy. My God, no.
We
Oh, what comes out of my? Oh, well, if you get time and you stay here and everything, whoa, I can let a little bit of it out just to make you satisfied without being on camera.
The good thing is I know we can copy your personality or anyone's personality, because there's a company in Europe that I think a couple years ago was working to clone people and put them in the virtual world of the platform, and that you'd answer this really long list of questions and then speak to it, so you can copy your voice, copy your mannerisms, how you speak. And then the idea was initially,
I'd screw that up too.
yeah, well, initially it was for like if you're passing away, you could still visit like your uncle or who passed away in their platform, who would sound, talk, and move like that person. So if a company can do it, we can get you in there too.
Yeah, I think we absolutely
boy.
should. It would be a test model for everything else. I think you need to greet people on the ship. They look character. Oh
my God, no. Oh my God, be on your ship, greet your people. Oh my God. Oh, I'd be like somebody at Walmart. They're going, oh my God, there's that guy again. Here he is. Same guy that was there. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
You remind me of that character from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's like, oh, he said.
Oh,
We
what
need
that he also reminds me of Bender from Futurama too.
Oh, yeah.
God, no.
But we need to have this same exact model on the ship, and so like when people are getting on the board of the ship, you can greet everybody. We're like, oh no, it's you again. That type of thing.
Oh God, you're back on the ship here. I thought you got off and stayed off. What the hell are you doing back here? Geez, sir, I forgot my wallet. Oh, okay. Well, the boat's leaving in 5. You got 5 minutes. Oh God, you want me there? Well, hey, I'm not working right now. That don't bother me a bit. I can do customer service. Boy.
We just need a bot that looks exactly like you, giving the same exact looks. What's this be like?
Oh God.
You know, holograms isn't too far off either, so you can have Raptor put everywhere on a cheaper bill. You should have a hologram system put on the ship, and you can have them spawn anywhere. It'd be like that really old
I think the
Clippy
robot's
thing.
good though. I want him yelling at people, off the ship. Just like looking.
No matter what, I tell everybody I take 10%, even if I'm selling tickets. So there you go.
Well, especially those peer runners. I want you to be over there, like, hey, yeah, that'd be great. Can I have a few, bots just like you, all sorts of shit.
Raptor. Metaverse Degen expanding into robots. We're going to be labor force robots. They're all going to have your personality, and we'll rent them out to people. It'll be hilarious.
God,
Just imagine an entire construction crew of you running around building a building, just complaining and looking at people weird.
Like, what the hell are you doing, John? What are you sitting down for? Break was an hour ago.
Well, that's why we need to have them on board. I think that's a good idea. We should totally do that.
I'm down. I want to see a bunch of raptors complain at each other for 8 hours on a work shift. That'd be great.
We need to have you the supervisor for the construction crew. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And just go
I can be there.
Hell,
I can do it in real life too. Just walk around going, yep, I got a yellow hat just like everybody else.
I just want you to yell at the peer runners. I think that'd be great.
I can do that. All you got to do is tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it, man. I'm open-minded to try new things. I've been doing it for years.
How does the Roboraptors get anything done? Well, the building's been finished for 4 days. They're just yelling at each other now. Your task is finished.
Because they're bored. They don't got nothing to do. That's why. Damn fools are running around circles. Look at them. They're worse than a fucking goddamn thing cleaning dust off the floor.
I like that because you're so little, and the look of you look on your face that you're so tiny, and you're like, "What the hell?" Like, you help you with your luggage, forget it.
You want your luggage? It's down there for about an hour. Get your shit and get out. I'm busy. I gotta go get the other people's luggage.
Yeah, exactly. I need that. We need that on the ship.
Oh yeah, that'll look great. Hey, just stay off the side that he's on. The quiet side's on the back. He's just on this side. He never goes to the back of the ship.
Those Karen cafes are extremely popular. You get to yell back. So this is great.
Oh my gosh!
People would already know to expect
I'm getting jobs already, and I haven't even put an application in already.
While we're making the Roboraptors for your ship, we can also turn the AI portion of that into a driver aid for in order to get places. You can make them a voice and an AI. They'll scream at you while you're doing the wrong things, like a Gordon Ramsay but furrier.
Yeah, he could be the navigation menu. I turn, you idiot, turn.
Damn boat won't move. You forgot, sir. You forgot to turn the wheel. Oh, crap.
But you gotta tell him to turn, but not tell him what direction to turn. Just yell at them for not turning.
Yeah. Turn the boat. Which way are we supposed to go? I don't know. Ask the other guy. You mean the other you? You want me to ask the other you that's next to you?
Oh, and the entire system's connected. The robots and the navigation menu all can communicate with each other.
We need a version of you that goes, that harasses the pirates. And just gets on their ship and he's like, hey, you, what the hell are you doing?
You don't need to hire the U.S. to get rid of the
Let me
pirates.
have a rocket launcher.
You don't need to hire the U.S. to get rid of the pirates. We have a fleet of Roboraptors that can solve your problem in about 4 hours for those to annoy him to death.
We need a version of him that's like, what's this missile launcher, and aims it down at the ship. Let me try this.
Am I supposed to push that button? Can I push that button? I like that button. That looks like a pretty button to push. Can I push it? Oh, boy.
So
They
Oh
will
my
never attack us
God.
again if we harass them enough verbally.
Oh yeah, be the other way around. You're pirating them. Yeah, Raptors here. Look at the pirate ship come by. No, that's just those people. Run, fool, run! Get the hell out of here! You harassing us last week, and we had to give up our cargo that we stole from another ship. Just go, just go.
You will have a bunch of you on little ships that go around that goes like preemptively goes towards where they're going.
Oh
People start
my
yelling at them. What
God.
the hell?
Please tell me the ships are RC boat sized with a little raptor on top of each of them.
Oh God, no.
Oh, but we
I'm
do want to
gonna
get
beat your ass when I see you in life, man. I'm just gonna kick you in the butt.
We are planning
Oh,
on getting
boy.
like swarms of drones, so you can ride one of those, have a bunch of those riding around.
Here comes my helicopter ride. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fly. Don't have a pilot's license, but hey, I don't need one now. I got a drone that does it for me. I feel like a bobblehead on a fucking boat ship. Do-do-do-do-do.
I think that drone storm would be the funniest thing to sit and listen to speak, even if it's effective or not.
Yeah, we should definitely, with his voice, add voice to it. Start yelling at people below,
So I have an honest
Oh,
question
boy.
that'll loop things back a little bit over to when we were with MerpMachine. How much of with what MerpMachine's doing with OPA and his RP is crosses over with what you're doing in Valkyrie?
It's actually quite a bit. So it's kind of a non-intensive way to see people and how they work and getting that feel for people before we approach them about jobs. So we are looking at partnering up with another organization that can hire people internationally and place people internationally. So right now we can only staff people in the continental U.S., but we can place them with work remotely for companies abroad. As well as in the United States, but we're looking to do it crossways, So, like one of the companies that we've been in talks with, we would even help with like visa paperwork if we want someone from overseas to come and get like with an H-1 visa. They would help through all that process. So, and this is one of these ways to like find people and their skills and get to know them, and so a lot of it does like cross over.
Oh wow!
So it's just we had held back on telling people that we were looking for people that wanted to work remotely, as we're getting everything like set in order and but yeah, so we're open to applications. We do have a general application on our valkyriestaffing.com site that people who's ever interested. So especially you can be your navigation.
I think at this rate you're almost an instant hire. Let's see your name, insert name, brackets raptor. Yes, I don't know what he does, but yes, it's just.
Or what we could do is have a version of him in every room that like harasses people.
Make them the butlers, the ship butlers. Oh.
Yeah.
You wake up to that mood.
I can't wait to see if anyone draws art of this. I just want to see the art of Roboraptors just doing random jobs.
You don't want alarm clocks too? Wake up calls and alarm clocks.
That's a great idea.
We go that. Oh Christ!
You can start poking people awake. Hey, you. Like if they have a meeting, someone's got to wake them up.
Yeah, I can see that working that way. Hey, you, get your ass out of bed. You're 10 minutes late. What the hell? Oh, sorry. I forgot to tell you. You're actually 10 minutes early. Have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
There you go. But a little bit more cynical, a little bit more intense. And you got it.
More intense? Oh, you want me more intense? Get your fucking ass out of bed, damn it! I don't got all goddamn day. What the hell's your shit?
Exactly.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, I figured out what you want. So I can work with this. I can work with this. Holy shit! I feel sorry for civic other that's over on the other end of this. Holy shit!
You know, the funny thing is I
Wow.
kind of see this, like, she'll hire you to do the voice acting and make the AI, and then later MerpMachine will just see the absolute chaos of the files, wondering what the fuck he has to build and work with, and then he builds it, and then it starts speaking, and then he looks back at her. Why did you have this made in the first place? There's a drone swarm of yous flying around, just being an annoying gnat everywhere.
Yeah, boy.
Well, see,
Wow.
technically, one of the ways that ships defend themselves is through annoying sounds. So, I figured we could just
Yep.
load more
Use it. Blow me out there. Why not? Loud PA system. Why not? Hey, why not? Hey. Yeah, drive by.
Better than
Hey,
being
you
polite.
gotta. Yeah. Can be nice for so long. Hey, would you be nice enough to move your boat over just a hair? Okay, dick, get your ass over. I'm gonna plow you with this bitch, and you're gonna feel the bump. Yeah, right.
Especially if there's, hundreds of these drones of you just yelling at them.
You know, one of the many
My
things that Raptor
God.
do in the morning is he'll sing songs as he does things. Like, I'm driving a train, so I can imagine a drone swarm finding a pirate ship, and it says, "Ooh, what's this button do?" There's like 4 drones in the back singing about how the wheel is doing things, 4 over there singing about how the engine's really cool, and they're just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on as the Raptor swarm is doing whatever the fuck it's doing.
It would be great. They wouldn't know what to think. It'd be so out of the order. It's a good way, I think that sounds so good.
God, I just want to meet you in person and just buy you a cup of coffee.
You know you're loved, Raptor.
Oh yeah, I know I am.
It's a
Never
sign of
lost.
affection.
Oh yeah, have a cup of coffee on me. Yeah, love and affection. Have a cup of coffee on me. Why not? Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Oh, so
I just think that the look on his face would be great as people are trying to get customer service or come in the morning and just stare at them. They want somebody to just stare at them before answering. Just like that.
I can. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
there's
Yeah,
an
I
awkward
gotcha.
pause
No
in
problem.
silence as the person's like, "Yeah, I would like," and he stares at him for a second. What?
What do you want, damn it? Open your mouth, say it. I got shit people coming. What do you want? Oh God, all
And the
day.
best part,
Hurry up.
the best part is you don't even give them what they ordered. You get something totally different. You screwed up. You give them that table, their order. You give them.
Hey, sorry. Would you please get up and just switch your chairs, please? It'll be okay. You'll have your orders.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
I don't
problem.
even switch it. Just tell them they have to eat it.
Yeah. Oh,
They're hungry. They'll eat
God,
whatever
you
put in
love
front
it
of
so. Do you do this to him? Do you do this crap to the person next to you? I just want to know. Help me.
We get yeah, Merp
You
and
do
I we
this all
mess
the
with each
time.
other a lot. Yeah, this is our normal personality.
That
We're not
makes a
drunk, I
good couple.
promise. We're not a couple. He's
You're not a couple? I thought you were a couple.
he's my son.
I thought you.
Oh.
Oh no shit! Whoa! Wait a minute! Whoa! Whoa! Holy shit! Well, I just ate that. Hey, can I eat this flour now? I just want to eat the pot that what's in it because I just made an ass out of myself. My God, help me!
I mean, I know we look the
Oh,
same,
God.
but come on now.
I don't. What? How would I know? You're in an avatar. What the hell? I don't know what you look like. What the? Huh? I get a kick out of people that go, yeah, I look just like my mom. Oh, okay. How's that work for you? Because I don't have no idea what she even looks like. I'm going blind here.
Oh.
Holy crap. I'm sweating like a pig here. Holy fuck, am I laughing so fucking much? I'm losing my shit.
Well, with that said, before we
Ah.
I just think
before we kick things back to Merp and ask them the same question, how does Valkyrie go back into OPA? Is there any future plans you have between the two with what you got going on in VRChat and what you're doing at Valkyrie? Is there anything that people can look forward to coming about?
well, we are going to be doing interviews actually in VR and environments like VRChat. So, rather than this, although there'll be text-based, but interviews as well to help us change those resumes and make them more applicable to what they're applying, but also getting to working as a staffing agency within VR itself. So, that's one thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very different type of out of the box type of thing.
Okay.
I just want to. Damn flower, get out of here! I just want to take you home. You're such a sweet lady. You're such a sweet lady.
It says hold the grab. I can't
found-
grab nothing.
Here, you want this? You want a flower to go with you? Here, you want a flower? Here you go. Now she's gonna beat me with it. I figured so. She's gonna beat me with it. I knew it. I just knew it. You gotta get to beat the hell out of me with a goddamn flower. She's beating the old man with a flower. Man, no problem.
Now, here you go. There you go.
I'll put it back. There you go.
Well, with that said, where can people find you and Valkyrie if they wish to reach out and find you? Like, what are some of the places they can go to?
Well, I would go to our valkyriestaffing.com website. And or they can contact Merp directly, because and then they could submit resume. So if he'll give them his email address or my email address, and they can go like HR@valkyriestaffing.com, and they can start the conversation that way.
Okay.
So.
In the Hoobly What's It Down That Way will be all the information for Merp and Valkyrie Staffing. We'll make sure both of you have...
I'm looking down. What? You're putting down.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of trying to break the fourth wall by looking down at the description, but, is that actually here?
Like,
What the hell did you do down there? I didn't see anything. What the hell?
You're looking down.
Goddamn
Like, I
fool.
don't see anything.
Are you losing your shit or what? She's losing her mind now. She will after this ordeal's over with. She's going to go, God dang, what a fucking trip this was.
Well,
we need a robot just like that.
yes, we do. Well,
you're not going to have much of a choice. I think it could be the kids'
Oh,
toy.
Yeah. We have a lot more ideas for Metaverse Degen merch, and all of it's going to be you related. Fair warning.
Thanks. I know it's coming. Oh my God, we have plenty of
the retail shops will have a bunch of you for sale. Like, give us the robotic toy.
You want a drone that has Raptor's voice to it? How about a swarm of drones with Raptor's voice?
Yeah.
A talking plushie? We got that too.
No. My God, no.
We want
One of
the
me's
face just
enough.
like that. So it's, oh no. Or even when someone's at the gym, be just like that. What the hell are you doing?
With that said, before we close things up,
more cost effective with the size.
I'll ask you, the audience, a question. What's your favorite robot? Raptor, do the thing.
And it ain't me, you asshole.
Of course, it's you. That's mine.
We'll package it so it looks like it's for kids, but it's not.
It's not. Oh boy. Oh,
We could even make children's stories.
Oh, great.
More
Mom, his leg
ideas.
broke
I
off.
like
Now he's
her.
yeah, I know. It's getting better all the minute. Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
What's the thing today,
What?
Mr. Raptor?
Oh, on that note, folks, no matter what you are or where you're going, even if you're in a boat and you think you can park it at McDonald's and you have an issue of ordering what it is, I'm not at the window of an AI making sure your order is over 2,000 people going, I want my food and I want
he's
my
in the back
coffee.
seat.
What? What the hell am I doing in the back? What the hell am I doing in the back? God, I got thrown in the back seat. So I might be the bobblehead that you might see in the back seat of somebody's car bouncing back and forth, but it ain't cussing going, get your car off the ass of my car. We'll talk to you
Get
later,
over it.
folks. We're out here. Bye. What?